fucking here.
Hello.
We are.
After some delays and technical difficulties.
There was a lot of fuckery happening.
Yeah, quite a bit of fuckery and fuckage and fuckaloos and fuckabaloos, all kinds of fucking.
But we prevailed.
We prevail.
We're here to bring you content.
I think that's a band. I prevail.
Probably.
There's definitely a band with prevail.
There's probably like 30 bands with prevail in their name somewhere.
Yeah.
If not 50. If not 100, honestly. If not more than that.
Yeah.
Really.
There are definitely 100 combinations.
Yes.
So there might not be now, but throughout time, there will be a lot of...
Yeah.
We will eventually touch all the prevails.
I think that most of the prevails in bands are probably... There's going to be a lot of metal in there, I have to say.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe
Or like
maybe a
chick
splash.
rock.
That,
Indie rock. Yeah.
Yeah, some indie rock stuff, yeah.
Yeah.
Anywho, we're here to talk about fucking movies.
Yeah. We do like to fuck movies around here.
Yeah.
Oh, hell yeah.
Oh, yeah. Fuck some good movies. All right. Anyhow.
All the fuckery. Anyway, welcome to Fuck.
This
movie.
Yeah.
This movie.
Yeah, we didn't do it
Back
right.
up this
We
time.
fucked it up.
We failed. It's the wrong night.
It's cool.
It's
It's
the wrong
cool.
night for it tonight, boys.
All right, so the failure on my right is owner and proprietor.
I am quite the failure.
He has a supervillain tattoo pending.
Pending. Wife didn't like it, but it might happen anyway. But I have to earn it. That's what I decided. I have to earn the supervillain tattoo.
Oh, so you got to do something chaotic.
Huh?
So John wants to do a line down his face.
Oh, yes.
Just a red line down my face.
Yeah, and apparently he drew it for his wife, and just so she could get an idea of what it would be like, and she was just like, eh.
It's funny because she looked at it and she's like, oh, I hate it. You look like a supervillain. I'm like, Dustin said the same thing. And then I looked at it.
Now I want it even more.
I kind of do. It's going to be great. But no, I have to earn it. I have to feel accomplished enough to have a supervillain tattoo. So, in the future.
Anyway, he's too old to be cool, Mr. John Brown.
Yep.
Then, man to my left. He's a Criterioner. Windower.
Criterioneer.
He's a man of many conquests. Mr. Reese Anweiler.
Howdy.
Oh, man. That beer is so bad.
John is drinking the worst beer of all time, apparently.
Of all time, yeah. It's pretty rough.
That is compliments of my father-in-law. It is, he normally does a good job bringing me holiday beers, and this is there's always one. There's always one. It's just like, you should just left that one in Oklahoma.
Yeah, it's a stinker.
This was the one. Me, I am, I don't know. I'm the guy who does the intros.
Yeah.
Dustin Holler.
Lumineer.
So, we talk about movies here, so let's start by talking about what movies you've been watching.
All right, usual rotation.
Yeah.
All right. A lot of shit, more shit than I have. I've watched more shit than comes to mind right now, but I definitely have some highlights.
That's why you need to get a letterbox.
I know. I'm gonna maybe do it sometime.
Maybe.
Maybe.
John, I've kind of like fallen off mine, so
Yeah.
maybe
Gotta get back on the wagon.
Back on together.
All right. No, I really genuinely want to. But
I need to be better about it because I tell you what,
So
like
much
doing this segment, the what have you been watching, is so much easier.
Yes,
if you just watch a movie and immediately just hit a button on Letterboxd to it.
I resolve the next episode.
Yeah,
we're going to be on
that's it.
point. We're going to be on
You don't
point.
need to rate it. You don't need to review
Yeah.
it. There's no
Just click it.
obligations. Just
Click
for sure.
click so that I've watched
click.
this,
I know,
and
I know.
then you can sort by the date that you watched it, and
I'm
boom.
a failure of a modern man. All right. Anywho, one of the older things I watched was a couple weeks ago on Shudder. Pretty fun movie called Destroy All Neighbors. About a
Sounds like a video game.
Yeah, kind of. Yeah,
I would play
you can
it.
make that connection. It's like this. It's about this dude that's like a prog rock musician. That's
is it a newer movie?
Newer, yeah, it just came out. Not accomplished at all. Just like basically just fucking spins wheels. Hasn't really done anything. Has spent like a decade working on some fucking prog rock album that's never gonna get done and yada yada. But at a certain point, this crazy neighbor moves in. That's just like this weird, fucking Eastern European guy, I guess. Like looks like a fucking troll, but just like starts going crazy. working out, listening to the fucking.
Is that your
EDM.
take on Eastern Europeans? They look like trolls. Is that where we're at,
No,
John?
I don't know how they look, but usually, there's a good amount of Eastern Europeans I've heard to be crazy. Russians are pretty intense people, from what I've heard.
Hitler.
Yeah. He's not Eastern European. He's like smack dab in Middle European.
Germany's
Not Eastern European. Eastern Europeans like Russia, Ukraine.
It's hard to say
Slavias,
because Europe is just like so
Slavs.
tiny.
It's not as tiny as we think it is.
I think it's tinier than what we think it is.
Actually, when you
Because
really,
each individual country
So,
is so fucking small.
I thought, well, you think that, but I actually had that thought a year or two ago, and I actually take a good look geographically, and it doesn't. Some of them are very, very small, but some of them are way bigger than you think. Like France is way bigger than you actually think.
No, France is huge.
Because we
France is actually
we
big.
think in terms of states, and it's like, we have so many states that are like the size of countries, but like a lot of countries are still a lot bigger than fucking states. Anywho, but yeah,
I'll never forget we had that Irish bartender for a minute, and she was like fresh off the boat. And she said that she's like, most people don't realize that like Indiana is so much bigger than Ireland.
Oh yeah,
so much bigger.
For sure. Yeah, no, there are all sorts and sizes over there, but no, Eastern Europeans like the Slavs and Russias and stuff before it gets into Asia. Anywho, dude, this neighbor is going crazy, listening to EDM. Guy has like this passive aggressive like attempt at dealing with his neighbor that turns into a bad situation. Basically, this guy ends up incidentally murdering a bunch of people, and then the story just goes ham after that, but every person that dies in the story like kind of haunts him almost, but becomes like a buddy character to him eventually, and kind of like spurning him to like finish this fucking prog rock album. And the finale of the movie is him like breaking into this studio that he got fired from to finish this production. And like it really blurs what the fuck's going on. You don't really know what the hell's going on. If any of this shit is like, if they're like real animated corpses or if it's all in his head or whatever. But pretty fun movie.
This is like weird. Brand new. Like 2024 new.
Really fun movie though. It was weird as fuck. I couldn't quite put my finger on it, but worth it,
Sounds like it has a little bit of a similar DNA to what did we watch last year? The Voices.
Yeah. No,
is there a man with a cat?
No, there's no man with a cat. No man with a cat here. All right, so that was pretty good. I do recommend watching it if you like weird, wacky, kind of like independent horror stuff. It's very fun. Otherwise, I've watched on the horror note Villains with Skarsgård. Bill Skarsgård. Have you seen that one?
I haven't, but I'm familiar with it.
You haven't seen that one?
No.
Oh, you would really, really like that movie. It's really fucking good. Yeah, it's Bill Skarsgård. I don't remember his girlfriend in the movies, that actress's name, but it's basically like some petty criminals just happen to break into a house. And like they're like the pettiest of criminals, like just two lovebirds that are just like, fuck the world, we're going to do crime.
Mm-hmm. I'm going to shoplift some gum.
Yeah, I mean, actually, it starts with them knocking off a gas station in masks and doing it super poorly. But yeah, it's like two people that are just like trying to be criminals, but just awful at it. They end up breaking into a house. When they break into this house, they basically just break into the wrong house because they go in the basement and find a girl chained up in the basement and then try to free her and then meet the people that actually are the owners of the house that have the girl chained up. And it just goes from there and gets into some pretty hilarious, pretty funny stuff. The two main characters are great. They're super resourceful. They do about the best you could in these situations. Really great performances by everybody. The two older people that like own the house are people you'd recognize immediately.
Kira Sedgwick is one of them.
Yeah.
And Jeffrey Donovan, I would never know by name, but he's the Bird Notice guy.
Yep. Yeah. Yeah, you know that guy immediately.
Kira Sedgwick, man, she just pops up here and there.
Yeah. But it's a movie with a really fucking satisfying conclusion, just good story along the way, great performances. If you haven't seen it, you should definitely watch it. It's fantastic.
Yeah, it's been on like the perimeter of my watch
I
list
think you'd really like it. You should definitely check it out.
Yeah.
Otherwise, I have been watching, as far as good stuff, new season of True Detective, the current season.
I actually got into that as well.
episode by episode. It's pretty
It's
good.
very relevant to
Yeah.
last last episode with the thing. It's definitely taking.
Oh
some,
yeah. No,
The
it's
Thing.
so that's what's
the
funny.
new season is.
Yeah,
It's breaching into actual horror shit.
Yeah.
Like
Really?
actual
Okay.
supernatural
cosmic
stuff.
horror like that.
Yeah.
I was not expecting.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
interesting.
It showcases a lot of Alaskan culture, which is cool.
Mhm.
One of the lead detectives is tattooed and pierced, although her piercings are actually kind of fucking stupid. I don't think any cop would ever have the piercings the chick has. The Alaskan chick, the cheek piercings.
Yeah.
It's pretty fucking retarded. And, like, if you ever get punched in the face, like,
is
you're
that
gonna
like
lose teeth.
the
It's not a good
is
idea.
that like the dermal implants? Or
Well, it's not dermal. It's like cheek piercings are actually through your cheek.
Oh, okay.
They're actually a nightmare piercing. They barely ever work out because it's like such a process to make them work. It's like a fucking year-long process to get them to be what they.
It looks cool.
It looks cool.
I've heard that
after
any
you
kind
do
of
all the shit.
any
Yeah.
kind of piercing in your face,
Yeah, for
like below the nose, is like the worst thing you can do for your teeth. It's
Well-
just like here's a rock that's gonna punch your teeth for as long as you have it in
So
there. So it's like your
especially-
shit's just gonna go downhill.
especially for any fucking police officer, for
Yeah.
anybody, club bouncer,
Yeah.
random hooligan, you probably not want to have shit on your face because like it's shit on your face. It can be grabbed and like you get hit with something. In the case of the cheek piercing, like I ain't
I
fucking
mean,
take
There's,
at the
blasted.
very least, it could get caught up in someone's clothes
Yeah,
that
no,
you're tackling.
it's just not a
like-
good idea. But yeah, so it's cool to have that represented in the show. But no, I was surprised that it went on such a supernatural note.
Yeah, like
Because
right
the
away.
others are not at all that.
Yeah.
There's no. It's just
I was just
detective stuff.
reminded of. I've been watching a little bit of Louder Milk on Netflix.
I've thought about watching that the other day.
And in the first season, my favorite line from season 1 is that nose ring makes you look like a skinny hand grenade.
yeah. So yeah, the new season is great though. So if you've watched up to the current episode,
I've watched the
second
first 3
episode,
episodes.
yeah. The second episode when they're like exhuming all the corpses in the ice,
Mhm.
and then one guy fucking like is still alive. Like that was great.
Yeah.
Like,
So,
Yeah.
so far, how would you say that the new season of True Detective compares with the previous? This is what, 4?
it's
Yeah.
the 4th season. It does. I mean, it's good. It's good
Like
right
2
now.
is bad, right? Like two is the
Two
worst.
is the worst. I don't. It's good still, but I don't think by the end of it, it's going to stand up to the first season.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's already trending in the wrong direction.
No. It's not trending in the wrong direction because like the 3rd season, I thought was solid up until like the last episode. Like that 3rd season, I thoroughly enjoyed. I thought it was like right on the money, and then they completely shitbagged it. And since they have 2nd season being just bad, 3rd season being pretty good, and then shitbagging it at the end, I can't imagine that they're not going to fuck up somewhere along the way with the 4th
Yeah.
season. I hope not.
I've only seen season 1 besides this season, and I am kind of watching it like tentatively.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
I don't. This feels like it kind of could go either direction.
Yeah, well, especially
Yeah.
with them bringing in the supernatural.
Yeah, and how many
player.
questions they keep asking.
Yeah, yeah.
It's like I just think of
Exactly.
other shows that's like they keep asking questions, and it gets to the point where you actually don't
You can't
get
resolve
answers for
exactly.
half the stuff.
And that's exactly what happened with season 3.
Yeah.
Is that there were just shit that just didn't get answered, and it was
Yeah.
just like, oh, okay.
Also, interestingly, again, I haven't seen 2 or 3, but there's a lot more like connections and details, like woven in details, like link it to season 1.
Yeah,
Like
yeah. I
even
think
to the point of like the cult they were, going up against or
Right.
whatever in season 1 is related to things
Yeah.
happening in this season.
yeah, they in season 3 they related to season 1, so I think they've been trying to relate shit to season 1
Yeah.
to keep a baseline. But yeah, it's really good so far. So I hope it holds up to season 1. Probably won't, but I hope it does. So,
Yeah.
Outside of True Detective, I watched Chinatown with Jack Nicholson.
Classic film.
Super classic, super good.
One of the best films of that with that 70s era, honestly.
It was super solid.
I've never seen the sequel. I've always wanted to.
I'm curious about the sequel because the ending.
Wait, what's the sequel called?
It's called The Two Jakes.
Huh.
Oh,
Is it Jack Nicholson?
It's also Jack Nicholson. I think it's also pretty, like, I don't think it has the fanfare, but I'm pretty sure if you
obviously,
looked
yeah.
it up on like
Have you
IMDb
seen
or
Chinatown?
Letterboxd,
I have
I think
once.
I'm pretty
I've
sure
seen
it has
I
just
did not
as like
appreciate
highest scores as
So
what
Really?
is
I
what,
would be. I'm
Chinatown
super
is.
curious to watch it because I can tell you, at the end of Chinatown,
No, it's
Jack Nicholson's character looked like he wanted a sequel. The character looked like he was just
like
He was
this,
not in
this,
good
this doesn't
form.
cover it, guys. We need
no,
one more.
no.
We
I
gotta run
mean,
it back.
the ends, like the last scene, is Jack Nicholson just like staring at this corpse of this woman while this young girl, who is this woman's sister daughter from a dirty old man rape, gets snatched up by the dirty old man that raped the corpse in the car, and Jack Nicholson's just staring at this shit, and all the cops handling the scene are like, "Oh, turn everybody loose. We're going home." And that's the ending to this film. Awesome. Like this, oh man, it fucked me up so bad because the film is so good. And I, as soon as the ending happened, I was like, oh yeah, I've seen this. I know this. As soon as she was shot and the car just pulled us to goes to a slow stop, and they all run up, I'm like, oh yeah, I know this scene, and it's just bad because it's the exact opposite of movies like Diggstown, where the bad guy loses. Oh no, this bad guy wins out. He is untouched.
Yeah.
And gets to take his granddaughter home
Jesus.
to probably rape her too.
Yeah.
So yeah, I would be curious to watch the sequel, but fantastic film though.
Yeah,
Great
and it's
performances.
I'm kind of like in this spot where it's like for actors, it's like 40s Jimmy Stewart, 50s Marlon Brando, and then the 70s Jack Nicholson. Like those are some of the like best stretches of acting that I've ever seen as far as like performance is concerned.
Yeah.
No, it's good. So, and then we get into some not as good movies. I for no reason, knowing full well that the fire I was putting my hand in was fire, I watched the newest Mission Impossible. And good God.
Part 1?
Yeah, part 1. Part fucking 1.
Yeah.
God damn, dude.
You know,
like, I can't
before you get
even-
on this, you know what's hilarious about this is the first time that Molly and I went to a theater and like we saw the trailer for this, and like you know from the music and Tom Cruise exactly what trailer you're watching like immediately,
Right.
and like Molly looks at me and like right before the end of the trailer she says, "Oh my God, they're making another one of these." And then
Yeah.
it says Dead Reckoning Part 1.
Yeah,
It's just
yeah.
like, well, they're gonna make another after this too.
It is the least deserved.
That also
It's
makes
just-
such a clunky title of Mission Impossible 6 Dead Reckoning Part 1.
So many fucking syllables.
Don't be a menace to South Central. You're just in the hood. We're coming for you.
Yeah. No, it was exactly as bad as you could imagine it would be. I mean, it was just goddamn. It was the worst camera work, the worst writing, just the worst.
Who directed this one? Anybody of
everything.
note?
I don't.
I'm pretty sure it's the same guy who's done like the last
Probably.
3. He's like Tom Cruise's guy now.
Ving
Okay.
Rhames was in there. The guy from
all the same people.
Yeah.
Simon Pegg.
yeah, Simon Pegg was there.
Alec Baldwin didn't come back, did he?
No Alec Baldwin, thankfully. Yeah, that right there. No, it was like the whole bit with this movie was that
I like
someone
Alec Baldwin.
someone
I like him
created-
too,
somebody.
but
someone created
touchy right
a
now.
super AI that ends up getting loose and becoming sentient and just like has access to all the world's shit everywhere, and so they're trying to like find a key, a physical key to unlock some part of this thing to stop it. And they call the thing, it's so fucking just hard to listen to every time they say it, but they always refer to the thing as the entity like 12 times.
like
and
the
it just-
like the name of the AI is the entity.
is the entity, which is like the lamest fucking just God. It's so hard to
Second
listen to.
lamest, right after those we don't speak of.
So actually, no. It is actually trumped in lameness in this movie, which I had never heard them actually
Doubt
say
I'm
it.
gonna agree with you, but
No. So, what Tom Cruise is a part of, the government agency that he is a part of, right? They name it, which I never remember it being named in any of these movies I've watched, and it's the IMF, which is the fucking Impossible Mission Force.
Ooh.
Yeah, that trumps the entity pretty fucking hard. That is the dorkiest shit. That's like a 5-year-old, like, Impossible Mission Force, go! You know, like fucking anime sequence.
It's been called that, like, since, I mean, like,
yeah, I've never heard it. I never heard it.
It's very funny because it's like,
I think it's just the impossible motherfuckers.
what kind of morale are you giving to your team?
Yeah, right.
Okay, guys.
You guys are gonna fail.
Let's do an impossible mission.
Yeah.
Good
So,
luck.
I mean, needless to say, which I've just said it a bunch, but whatever. This movie's a piece of shit. Tom Cruise, stop it, please, Christ. Just
They won't. There's gonna
They're
be.
not.
There's gonna be.
It
at
will
least a part
only
2.
stop when he's dead.
They're
in, like,
already working on
70
part
years.
2, but I'm pretty sure this one underperformed at the box office.
Yeah, I would hope so. Jesus Christ. All right, so the last thing that I watched that's worth talking about.
And I will say that's directed by Christopher McQuarrie, who has directed the 2 previous Mission Impossible movies and will direct part 2 of Dead Reckoning.
All right, so the last thing that I have to talk about is I sat down and watched the Suicide Squad movies. Suicide Squad.
God.
You really could have just skipped the first one.
No, but you know what?
This is
I watched
bad.
it.
This is bad stuff that you're about to talk
No,
about.
okay, so in watching these 2 things, I had a very similar experience with Escape from New York and Escape from LA, just that it went the other direction.
Reverse.
Yeah. Suicide Squad. Oh my god, it was like
That movie is a disaster.
dude. It is like one of the most disastrous movies
I have
I've
said
ever seen.
I think that movie could be taught in college courses as how not to edit a movie. It is like
How not to edit a movie?
atrociously edited.
How not to write a movie? Like nothing. There was nothing redeemable. Like the only thing
You could if you just like were unfrozen, right? Like this is like Futurama times, and you're unfrozen, so you've been frozen for 100 years.
Yeah.
It's just like this is the first movie you watch. It's like, and you watch this movie.
I'm never watching film again.
What's your opinion of Margot Robbie after watching this movie? Like, do you think she's good? Because I don't think she's good.
I think she's fine, but I don't think
shit. And I want her to
I think
die.
the movie is so bad that you couldn't possibly look at any individual aspect of the movie and think it's good. Everything in the
everything's
movie is
trash.
bad.
But it was very much in watching it. It was very much the Margot Robbie show.
Yeah.
It was very much just like Harley Quinn.
Yeah,
The whole thing was just her and her ass out and
also
a bunch of terrible fucking bullshit.
I know like the public shaming and all that, but like just on like a credential level, like Will Smith is net negative for your movie at this point. Like,
At this point, yeah.
If you're casting Will Smith in your movie, like nobody wants to watch it. And they don't give a
I think
shit.
he
And he doesn't make it better.
legitimately always, or not always, but for the last 15 years, he can't be in a movie and not take it too serious. Like he always takes it too serious.
He's been Oscar hunting for like ever since he got the first sniff of it. He's that Oscar hunter.
But he does like an Oscar hunting performance no matter the movie he's in. Like
Yeah.
Will, you're not gonna get an Oscar nomination for Suicide Squad.
Yeah,
what are you doing?
Have you guys ever seen the movie Bowfinger with
Eddie Murphy?
Eddie Murphy and Steve Martin?
Yeah.
And so like so in this movie, like Eddie Murphy plays this like basically he plays like one of the top like the hottest actors on the planet.
Right.
But he's like got like serious like mental health issues, like including paranoia, and he thinks that like he believes in like that he's been alien invaded and like his body has been like fucked with. And so the whole movie is Steve Martin is this like B movie director who can't get an actor as good as this guy to be in his movie, and so he just decides he's going to shoot a movie that he doesn't know he's in. So they just start stalking this guy with like cameras hidden.
That's great. I've never seen that.
Yeah, and so anyway, the thing that like really made it notable for me is that wait, what were you talking about before this?
Will Smith, Oscar.
Yeah.
Suicide Squad?
So the same thing. It's just that like so the Eddie Murphy character is with his agent and he's talking about like what the next movie is gonna do is, and he's like you need to get me an Oscar. I want that statue. And he's like you know how you get an Oscar? You got to give me the right role. He's like I need the role as a retarded slave.
Oh, Jesus. Nice.
And like I think that's kind of where Will Smith went with his career. Like he wanted the role as the retarded slave, which I think he might have actually done that movie. But
I think he wasn't in Amistad, was he?
No.
But he did
something like that.
Right after he won the Oscar for King Richard, which we got to talk about the Oscars. He was he played a slave in a movie, and it went like straight to Apple TV because it was after he slapped Chris Rock and he's canceled.
It's like a few years ago we had I say a few years ago, it's been a while, but like we had the 12 Years a Slave, which was like the last slave movie, and it's just like now he's going to do a slave movie. It's like, well, he's just like on the back heels of other people's shit.
Yeah. I do like Will Smith mostly. Like I don't have a problem with Will Smith. Most things I see him in, but yeah, he's like, this was just like,
he's a net negative for your movie. Like
no, he is.
You can definitely point out points like movies in Will Smith's career. You can point out and say like he was good here. I like this but like for the most part, right now. He's a net negative for your film.
No, I agree with that. I still think the guy's an all right actor, but I do agree with where he's at right now.
Because certain directors seem like they just get good performances from people, like no matter who they're working with, right? I think this is interesting to think about. Django Unchained. Originally, Will Smith was going to be Django, and he turned it down because Django's not the main character, and I don't understand how you read the script for Django and think Django's not the main character.
That to me, that's an Oscar hunter. That's an Oscar.
Yeah.
Like that's not enough me.
I'm not the sidekick.
No, for sure.
So do you think
he wants it to be all about him?
Do you think the movie would have been like as good, or would it have been worse or better if he had played Django?
I think that it would have still been I don't think it would have changed.
I think it would have been a worse movie. I honestly can't picture Will Smith in a Tarantino movie. I don't think they play well together.
I mean, that's probably more likely the thing that happened is that like Will Smith came in with notes of how he wanted to change the character, and
Tarantino was like, fuck off.
That's exactly what my thoughts are. Yeah. Like, if you're working with Tarantino, you're doing it for the experience and with the knowledge up front that he's going to control everything and you have no say in anything.
Yeah, no, I mean, yeah, for sure. You're working that caliber shit. It is what it is. There are no notes. You know what you're going into.
Similar with like Wes Anderson. I feel like Wes Anderson could probably get a good performance from anybody he worked with. I also don't think I don't know if he's going to allow you to change the characters he has. I'm still
miffed that Bill was not the dad in Asteroid City. That still pisses me off, but whatever. But so Suicide Squad, so complete fucking train wreck. God, it was just awful in every way. None of it made any fucking sense.
Yeah. I can't believe you wanted to watch this.
It's fucking science, man. I was bored. And
I literally, if you'd ask, should I watch this before I watch the second one? Like
I knew it was
trash. It's like the worst superhero movie.
I knew it was trash.
Of a genre that's like suspect.
I'm not a huge fan. I'm not a huge fan of Margot Robbie, and I'm not a huge fan of Harley Quinn anyway. So I had no reason to watch it. I was just bored, man. I'll watch bad movies. I'll listen to bad music to confirm and be able to tell people with authority that this is a piece of shit. Yeah. So now I can. But I was very pleasantly surprised with the Suicide Squad, and I really thought that it was.
I haven't seen this.
Oh really? It's fun. It's a great movie.
So it's completely different, dude. It's that's why it's like such a parallel for like Escape from New York, Escape from LA, because it is like the exact same thing. Yeah. And they actually have characters in the exact same roles, the same kinds of characters in the same kinds of roles. Like the main character in the Suicide Squad is Bloodsport? Bloodshot? I can't remember the character's name.
Yeah,
but it's like
Deadshot.
I think there's blood in there. I think it's Bloodsport. Honestly, I just looked it up. I looked up all the characters as I was watching the movie.
It's Death Blood Spot.
Yeah.
Frank
some guy.
It's Blood Shooter.
Bloodsport.
But so the main character, like Will Smith's character in Suicide Squad, was like black shooter guy with a young daughter, and like same thing.
Yeah,
Like another black hitman shooter guy with a young daughter. You know, like
almost like they just like didn't want to say they recast the character, so they just made the exact same character with a different
for sure.
name.
But no, it is such a better movie. It's so much more fun. It's way better written. There's nothing wrong with the writing. It's not the Margot Robbie show.
Look great.
Yeah, the effects are fantastic.
So tell me, I guess I'm ignorant on this. So I have seen Suicide Squad. I thought was atrocious.
Yeah, it's a complete.
So
it's
I didn't want to watch
different
Birds
movie.
of Prey. I'm not.
I don't
sure
know about
what
that.
The Suicide.
Okay,
Squad
so I don't think you need to
reboot?
watch.
Is it a reboot?
It's a reboot.
It's technically a sequel, but it is
no,
really like
it's a fucking dude. It's a reboot.
They kill off a lot of the characters from the first movie, like in the first 5 to 10 minutes.
Oh, I love it when they do that.
No, it's this movie is much more like it's poking fun at how goofy DC is.
Yeah,
because Goofy is like pretty legendary for goofy fucking characters.
Yeah,
and it's completely just laying bare and just laughing at DC characters. No, it is a reboot. I think it's a reboot.
The only thing it really carries over is Amanda Waller.
Amanda Waller, and then the dude from Altered Carbon as the like lead, Captain Flag or whatever.
And then Margot Robbie.
And
that's like
Robbie.
Really,
yeah.
That's it.
Well, they carry over Boomerang Man or Captain Boomerang, which is, again, dorky fucking DC comic character. Yeah. Jesus Christ. But thankfully, he didn't die in Suicide Squad. This motherfucker's dead in 5 minutes in the other one, so... Thumbs up there. Let's kill off the completely ridiculous character.
All of the new characters they introduce are just so good.
Yeah,
it's John Cena as Peacemaker.
Yeah, which is was a comic book character that wasn't DC that they picked up, but it's like another one of those guys. But they play on the fact, they make fun of that there are just redundant comic book characters.
Yeah.
They like play with that, and it's fun, and like the characters play with that. The whole thing is just making fun of itself. The whole thing is way more aware of how stupid and silly it is.
Yes, it really commits, and it goes all in on the goofiness, and so many blockbusters. These last like five years, I'd say, are just like
shout out to Blockbuster.
These would have been like
R.I.P. baby.
Great movies if you just pushed the goofiness, take yourself
for sure.
as seriously as you're supposed to.
So in the setup of this movie, it doesn't fuck around with the setup of the Special X Task Force like the first one does. It's just like, hey, this is a thing, and it sets up more of the characters. There's a lot more character development for each of the characters in this movie, and the entire time that they are developing, that they're introducing the characters while they're in prison before that mission, like the guy that heads it, which is fucking, what's the guy's name? Ibis, the black dude.
Oh, Idris Elba.
Yeah, Idris Elba. The entire Idris Elba plays Bloodsport, I think, and like he's being introduced to characters that are part of his team, and the entire time he's just like, Jesus fucking Christ, we're all gonna fucking die. This is ridiculous, you know.
Yeah.
But it's super fun. Like when that group gets into the island to do the job, and they have to go recover Captain Flag, and the broad that runs the thing is like, all right, murder everybody. These are all terrible fucking people. And they go through this sequence where they're just like murdering all these like indigenous, what they think are terrorists.
Like stealth killing an entire
camp, and they find Captain Flag, and he's having a beer with this revolutionary chick. And he's like, what are you guys doing here? Well,
we came to save you.
Yeah, we're supposed to save you. And she's like, well, where are all my people? How does nobody alert me? And they're just like,
so they killed the entire rebel rebellion.
But no, it was super fun. I was super surprised after that complete piece of shit. I mean, I would piss on the ashes of Suicide Squad. It was embarrassing for everybody.
No, it was bad. I saw that movie in the theater. It was fucking...
So, the Suicide Squad...
So bad.
Such a different experience.
Yeah.
Such a different experience.
I don't want to do it. Is that fair? That I sat
I think it's worth it if you did.
I sat through one movie with the name, and now you made another movie with the name.
It's so much...
that's why I think people are a little unfair about comic book movie reboots specifically, because that's all that comic books are, is reboots.
That's all they are, exactly.
So
that's a good point.
I don't want an endless continuation of the story of Christian Bale's Batman. but I do kind of want endless Batman movies because that's what Batman is. I want to see
No,
I think
Tim Burton's
I'm in
Batman
a different camp, and
Christopher Nolan's Batman.
I'm just over it.
it's just it's a
I'm
good
just
point
over
to have
that.
like the fact that for every comic book person that's like, oh, they got this wrong. Again, all these characters have been around since
Fuck that guy
1930
too.
to 60. Been written by 20 different people.
100 different people.
100 different people in some
know.
cases. Exactly. So whatever. No, I would say
I'll
honestly.
never forget after watching the first Guardians of the Galaxy movie. I went to a friend's house down south.
This movie feels
Oh,
like
yeah.
those movies.
Did you like the first Guardians of the Galaxy?
Loved it.
This
But
Suicide Squad is...
my buddy's buddy was a huge comic book guy growing up, and like he's like, and he was like, oh man, he was telling my buddy like you need to see Guardians of the Galaxy, which I had seen it, and I kind of agreed you should see it, and I'm like, so you liked it? And he's like, well, I really wish it would have followed the books more, and I'm just like, this fucking guy.
Yeah,
so
no,
stupid.
it's exhausting.
Like,
But no, this movie feels like that.
Has
movie.
anybody read the books Guardians? Like, who the fuck is
Yeah.
this guy?
Yeah,
no.
Who's read Guardians of the Galaxy?
This Suicide Squad, the Suicide Squad, is the same director as the Guardians of the Galaxy movies.
Okay, it's like James Gunn.
James
Yeah.
Gunn.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
it feels very much like that, and it's so like the Bloodsport character, whatever the fuck his name is.
I
so
do think
in-
one of them is Deathshot and one of them is Bloodsport. I think I don't know which is which, but
Yeah.
I think those are the names.
yeah,
DC's bad with names.
they're all bad with names. Fucking comic books are just dorky.
Yeah.
Anyway, so the character in the comics is just a guy, just a mercenary dude, and his only real power is granted to him apparently by Lex Luthor, from what I read, where he like can teleport to a warehouse of any gun he wants,
Yeah.
and so that's pretty bad.
How
to
did Lex
translate,
Luthor give him this ability?
Because Lex fucking Luthor is a billionaire. That's all the guy.
Okay.
I don't know, dude.
The
I don't
point
know
of
dick
Lex
about
Luthor
DC
is that
comics.
he just makes up, like he does experiments on humans, and then the experiments become Batman or Superman villains.
Yeah, he
It's
just
like-
it's a guy that has $1 million. He's the opposite Batman. He just can do whatever he wants. But so the character, that's the only power the guy has per se, is to go be transported somewhere and get whatever gun he wants. It's a weird thing to translate into a movie, especially after he's been fucking in prison. So I actually really liked what they did to kind of translate that for the character in the film. He doesn't transport to go get whatever gun he wants. He just has things on him and a finite amount of things, because by the end of the movie he runs out of them.
Yeah.
But he has like gadgets on him that turns into whatever gun he wants.
Yeah.
And like I appreciate like mechanically working that
That's another
into the
underrated.
different media.
I think that's another underrated thing about comic book movies. Good comic book movies is when they like find interesting ways to translate these ridiculous.
because the
and
shit
kinda
has to be
untranslatable
translated.
ideas.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. So, but anyway,
You know,
I definitely think it's worth a watch. I was blown away by the difference. If you watched Suicide Squad and thought it was a piece of shit, you were right. If you didn't want to watch the Suicide Squad, it's actually worth a watch, in my opinion.
yeah.
right.
You can skip Birds of Prey. It's fine.
I'm sure it's
but
just
it's
whatever.
really skippable.
Is
Yeah.
it a sequel to
I feel like it's their
the
rebranding
original
of
to
Harley Quinn.
Suicide Squad without the?
It's literally
It's totally different.
just connected to
I-
either movie, that the fact that Harley Quinn is the main
Yeah.
character.
I
Like,
just
otherwise,
didn't want to watch
no
Margot
connection.
Robbie as Harley Quinn anymore because that was atrocious. to
Well,
me.
yeah, then don't watch Birds of Prey.
Yeah.
It's the Suicide Squad. Her performance
I
is an
think she's
actual
be-
performance. In Suicide Squad, it wasn't really a performance. Like,
but the thing is, I think it's what they wanted it to be. Like,
yeah, in Suicide Squad, because the director was a fuck.
yeah, it's really disappointing.
It's a completely different film.
I don't hate Margot Robbie. I think she could make better decisions with her life, but I don't hate her.
No. The performance, there was a performance in the Suicide Squad. There was like nonsense in Suicide Squad. Like that, it was just the whole
She
fucking
definitely
thing was fun.
conveyed the idea of Harley Quinn as
Yeah.
just being like really like actually insane and not aware of what is going on.
Well, she
necessarily around her.
performed the role much more in
Yeah,
the Suicide
yeah.
Squad as well, with the accent and with
Yeah.
like the dialect. Like, yeah, it was. It was so much. It was one of the most surprising things I've seen to watch. The piece of shit that I just watched, because I mean, we watched it and we're like, God, this is gonna be fucking terrible.
Yeah.
But anyway, so you should watch that. That's what I've been watching.
All right, Reese.
Not to take too
You
much
said
time.
that you've got a laundry list of items here.
Yeah. Coolest thing I watched, and I don't remember if I talked about this already with either of you or on the pod. I don't think I talked about it on the podcast, but I did a thing. If you remember, last October I watched Nosferatu with just a
Yeah.
playlist of
Yeah,
custom
yeah.
music.
Yeah.
I did the same thing with the 1928 film The Passion of Joan of Arc, which is one of my favorite films, and it's like, if you've never seen it, it's like a perfect movie. Like, literally, I think it's perfect.
I've never seen it, but I do know that it is one of your favorite films.
Yeah, I'd like to watch it.
I would rewatch it with anyone, anytime. It's also like 85 minutes. It's a very short movie, but
a lot of those silent films were.
yeah, which is understandable, I think. But fantastic movie. Watching it with like my own custom playlist of music that's like important to me and like already means something to me, and then it really it was fantastic. It like again like
really
Nosferatu,
cool. Yeah.
the amount of times that things just randomly lined up perfectly.
Right.
Like sometimes so obvious that like if some like a movie actually had this line up, you'd be like, that's a little too on the
Yeah,
nose.
Pink Floyd fans have been selling that Wizard of Oz Kool-Aid for a long time.
Yeah.
It's like you can eat so easily. Just see the like a song. This song that this tattoo is from, "It's Gonna Be Okay, Baby," plays as Joan of Arc is being like escorted to her execution. Like Jesus.
Yeah,
Like,
no, that's awesome. Yeah.
But if
that's a fun exercise.
if you want it to be, and you've taken 2 grams of mushrooms,
that's what I'm saying. You can read into anything.
But no, it's a cool thing that I would like to do at some point too. That's a fun exercise for sure.
Yeah. So regardless of what score you watch Joan of Arc with, I highly, highly, highly recommend it. I watched a cool little horror movie I'd never heard of. It was on sale on Vudu called Dust Devil. If you ever saw the movie The Hitcher with what's his name from
Rutger Hauer.
Yeah. I love that movie, by the way. Hitcher's a great movie.
I've never seen it, but I know of it.
Yeah,
I know he's supposed to be really good in it. Right?
Oh yeah, he's like, without him the movie's kind
it's
of
one
garbage,
of his
but
signature roles.
totally
It's a we're talking about a guy who's literally made a career of being a bad guy. I mean,
Dust Devil had some really similar vibes, also similar vibes to like Candyman and stuff.
Okay.
Just some kind of cool, kind of dark, devilish 90s horror.
Speaking of Candyman, like they remade that.
They did.
Within like, did anybody watch that?
I did. Yeah.
How was it compared? Because I feel like it's like I don't know. I never saw
loose recollection of Candyman at this point.
Like I feel like Candyman, even watching it when I did, which is when it came out, I felt like I was watching a movie that like was too early. Like it could have been better. You know, this movie was okay. It probably could have been better, but like our technology today, I don't know. It just seemed like too early.
Yeah.
I actually highly recommend rewatching the first Candyman. None of the others, because
once those things get into like series
you
roles,
set up such a solid metaphor and theme, and then you immediately have to like screw that over and be like, well, no, actually, he comes back every 5 years or some shit, you know.
Yeah.
No, the first Candyman, I love the first Candyman. It's just like really great 90s horror. And then the one that came out, I think it was like 2019 or something.
Yeah, pretty recent.
It was another one like they've been doing lately where they build it as a remake and then it comes out and it's actually a sequel. So it has like real like tentative ties to the other one. But it overlooks the sequels. It's just a direct sequel to the original, like how they did with Halloween.
Yeah.
And it was okay, but I thought it was trying a little too hard to like force in like racial metaphors and stuff.
Yeah, that's a bummer.
The first one was kind of like a gem
to be forced in nowadays.
Yeah.
The first one was kind of like a gem, like little fanfare, but like you watch the movie and it's like, man, there's like, and I still feel like, I don't know, it's been a while, but.
I'm gonna rewatch that one.
It's like you know that feeling when you watch a movie and it's like it's so close. It was a good movie, but like there was a great movie in there somewhere, and I always had that feeling with with Candyman.
Yeah.
Like it was.
I was kind of mixed the first time I watched it.
I feel like there's something. It's just missing a tiny little something.
Yeah.
And so that's what I was wondering if like a reboot maybe fixed the thing
Reboots
that I
It
thought
are
looks
fucking-
great, right?
reboots
Because
are
it's like
50-50,
produced by
man.
Jordan Peele, and it's definitely going for that Jordan Peele vibe.
Yeah.
And so like the
Produce
visually
doesn't
it
mean
looks-
anything though,
looks
other than he
great,
has
but,
money.
It's his
Right.
production studio.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But no, I highly recommend giving the original.
Yeah,
Candyman
I will
a
actually.
second
I haven't seen that since I was a little kid. So
Yeah, maybe I'll pick it. Who knows?
I watched a documentary about the Sparks Brothers, a band that's like it's kind of like this weird kind of indie cult following band that's like been around since the 70s,
yeah,
and like everyone like they're basically a musician's musician, and like
sure.
Paul McCartney loves them and
Right.
U2 loves them and stuff, but like you guys have never heard of them. They're
Yeah.
you know, so it was a really fun doc. It's directed by Edgar Wright, so
Okay.
that was
On
fun.
that note, you should watch The Wrecking Crew.
Hmm.
Yeah, it's a really good documentary about
Yeah.
studio musicians from the 60s, 50s.
I watched a concert documentary called Monterey Pop from 1968, just like about the concert festival Monterey Pop. It was similar to Woodstock, and it has like just a bunch of different performances by like Otis Redding and
Right.
Yeah, it was just a fun time. I just kind of put it on the background while I was
Yeah.
doing other stuff, and it was kind of
Yeah,
a
especially
fun
music
vibe.
documentaries. Like,
Yeah.
documentaries are already dialogue driven. The music
Like there's like
documentaries
no
make it
narrative or
easier.
information. It's really
Yeah.
just
Yeah.
like
Right.
5-minute segments. I did go see the new Mean Girls. I kind of enjoyed it. I'm not gonna like recommend it to anybody because like
Right.
I kind of just gave up on trying to find someone to watch it with and just went and saw it by myself because like I don't really want to talk anybody into seeing it.
Is it better than the original?
No, it's not better than the original, but it's also not trying to be the exact same movie because it's a musical. But like whatever movie we were just
Is there a
talking
song
about,
that's like, "I'm a mean girl"? Is that like one of the songs?
I don't think there's anything that on the nose, but like they don't commit enough to like it's a
Yeah.
musical. You know, it's goofy.
Yeah,
And you have
that
to
right there tells you they're not going to commit enough.
Yeah, and that's again.
I'm
it's-
so mad. I can
agree
sing a
that
song about this.
There should be more committal, man.
And there's several times where they get kind of meta about it, you know, and or recognize the goofiness, but it's just they don't commit enough, and it's.
A lot of franchises have been saved by the committal to the
Yeah.
goof, you know.
I think Evil Dead, the entire
Oh,
Evil
yeah.
Dead franchise, is like
Yeah,
they
yeah.
just commit.
No, Evil Dead wouldn't be anything that it was, and wouldn't have been able to produce the real sequels that we've gotten
Yeah.
in modern
Yeah,
times without their committing to just the goof. So, yeah.
I went and saw Godzilla -1 minus color.
Yeah.
That was fantastic.
I've seen it only with color, so
I'm hoping I can catch it while it's without color.
Yeah, you might have missed your chance.
Yeah, I probably did.
It was only
I
going
don't
to be
get
here
to, I
for
don't
a
get to
week.
do very
So.
much. So.
Yeah, but I'm really hoping it comes out on Blu-ray and shit soon because I'm gonna buy it like day one. The movie holds up, color, black and white, anything. It's
Technicolor, whatever.
yeah. I mean,
We should get more of that.
I'm gonna watch it on mushrooms next.
Technicolor. We went over this. It's so expensive. Nobody does it anymore.
I know. Like that would be a fun thing for people to just do releases of.
So good. I will buy it and lend it to you
Yeah,
as soon as it comes
yeah.
out. I watched a documentary. Do you guys remember a few years ago? I want to say it was 2018. I just watched a documentary about it. The missionary who tried to contact the uncontacted tribe and was killed by them by like bows and arrows. Do you guys remember this?
Yeah, it's vaguely familiar, but
He's like a teenager, not a teenager, but he was a young guy, and like literally snuck onto like one of the few uncontacted tribes on an island to try and preach to them, and immediately was killed by them.
Yeah,
Because,
I
like-
mean that's
As they do.
as
Yeah.
you would.
Yeah, because not only like,
Fuck you, guy.
It's
you know,
like
but they are like aware that if strangers come to them, that they are
Yeah.
at danger, and so
Right.
and they most likely could have like.
sounds to me like Denner's just making a lot of noise that I don't understand. You know, like-
But yeah, it was a documentary all about him and his story and
Him trying to do the
how
thing
he
do
got
the
here
thing.
and how he, skirted around the law. It was very interesting.
Yeah, it
and
would be interesting.
they
yeah.
did a really good job of playing it like not trying to sway your opinion on it.
Right,
They
right.
just present the facts.
Oh, that's as a documentary.
But-
You're fucking supposed to.
You know, you get the facts, and it's like,
Yeah.
no, he was an actual idiot.
yeah.
Seems likely.
If not
Yeah.
like a bad person. Like
Yeah.
like there's literally.
I feel like everybody's heard the story, like is
Yeah.
familiar with the story,
Yeah.
and like have you like when you first heard about the story or whatever, did you think anything other than what a fucking
No,
idiot?
no.
Yeah,
I think I
exactly.
literally I was like,
Yeah.
no, he got what he deserves.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah, get the fuck out of here, guy.
You-
Leave
You
him
know,
alone.
you know why he did it? You think it's because he's an idiot? No. It's because he thought that Jesus was looking out for him.
yeah.
I mean, that's kind of
These arrows pierce my skin.
I learned so much more details about like the situation that it's just like, what were you thinking?
Yeah.
He tried to like one time he walked up to the island and he's got his hands up and a Bible in his hand, and they shoot arrows at him, and they shoot his like an arrow into the Bible. And he runs back to the boat. He's freaking out. And then he takes the arrow out of the Bible and he gets back in the water. He's like,
Yeah.
they literally gave you a warning.
Yeah.
And you're like, no, they need to know. They need to know about Jesus.
They're doing just fine.
Yeah.
They're doing just fine.
Oh, it's almost like it's just a little too happy.
That's
that
pretty.
This guy got killed. I don't know.
I mean, they shot an arrow through the Bible. I mean, like, talk about poking holes through a story.
Yeah.
They blew it all out.
They've got their own gods, buddy.
I watched Lupin the Third, The Castle of Cagliostro. It was the first film directed by Hayao Miyazaki, 1979. So it's celebrating.
The Lupin anime is pretty fun, dude. It's good shit. It's good, classic
It's part
shit.
of a franchise, but it's celebrating its 35th anniversary. So that was.
Yeah,
that was
I would like
to
that. I've only seen I think one of the Lupin films, but it's good.
Yeah.
I love, dude. That's the thing. Like, I'm so satisfied with old school up to like 90s anime. Like, a lot of the new stuff.
It's really fun and just goofy
good.
and nonsense.
Right?
I watched Maestro, the Bradley Cooper movie. That's up for a bunch of Oscars. It was fine.
I'm interested in it.
It's worth a watch.
I'm a fan of his directing. I think he's done a good job with everything he's done that I've seen.
Bradley Cooper is definitely in his Will Smith era, though. Of he really wants an Oscar.
Yeah. I like that. I see him as an extension of Clint Eastwood. I feel like that's his mentor as a director is Clint Eastwood.
Yeah,
and that's
yeah,
actually
that checks out.
His directorial debut was the Star Is Born, and the whole bit with that is like he wanted to be in it, and he wanted Clint Eastwood to direct it, and like Clint Eastwood is like old and involved with a million other things, and I was like, you know what? It's your time. You should do it. And he's just like, oh, and it's like I like that. I like that part of it. And I like him. I think he's a likable like character actor, and so far he's been killing it with his directing. So I've been curious to watch that one.
Yeah. It's on Netflix. Let's give it a go. It's great performances. Honestly, the cinematography is pretty great. I did like that. So.
I did see or hear him in an interview, and he said that the Star Is Born and then Maestro. Basically, he said that he deserves no credit for that because there were like two musical geniuses that were like carrying all the weight in both films.
Right.
And so,
yeah.
And you know what? Like, kudos for him for being the type of guy that would say that, because a lot of people would like immediately try to grab all the limelight.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. There was it's interesting because at one point, like you said, Clint Eastwood was signed on to direct A Star Is Born, and that movie was in production for a long time. There was at one point it was supposed to be Beyonce was going to be.
Yeah, it's like the fourth time the movie was made.
Oh yeah.
Like it's
that-
probably the most
that
remade
iteration.
movie of all time. Honestly, it's
Just about, yeah.
It goes way the fuck back.
All the way back,
Yeah, it's like
it's like the founder of Hollywood signed a
I think
deal.
Judy Garland. I think Judy Garland was. The first.
Yeah, I think she was in the second one.
Oh, the second one?
Yeah.
Oh, Jesus Christ!
I think the first one
Julie
was
Garland
like
was in
borderline
the
asylum
remake.
movie.
Yeah.
But and then this one at one point, Martin Scorsese was signed on to direct Maestro. So Bradley Cooper just keeps scooping up other directors' kind of droppings.
Yeah. To be fair, I don't think Scorsese was ever actually in the running to direct that.
He did produce it. He did after.
Yeah, that doesn't mean anything though.
He had money and said, "Hey."
That means I put up some money
I think
in the hopes that I can
an
make some
executive
money.
producer is literally just puts their name on something. A normal producer does do things and is even on set.
What do you think a producer does?
I couldn't tell you, but they produce.
They produce results. God damn it!
So first of all, executive producer. It's just a
Executive producers literally just here's my money.
They're the same. Producer, executive producer, it's the same. They're both executives.
They make phone calls.
They have for creative.
Have some lunches.
Do they have
dinners,
creative input? Well,
some
kind
drinks.
of, because if they say that I hate what you're doing, don't do it. Like that's their creative input.
Yeah.
Like they like, so I've looked over what you've done so far and I hate it. Change it.
Right.
Like that's them. But then
This
they're like,
won't
oh,
sell.
you don't like what I've done. I need more money. That's the fucking producer. Like they have no creative input other than to be a critic for what the people
I
working for
think
them actually
a lot
do.
of producers are that, but I do think not all producers. And if you get like Margot Robbie was a producer on Barbie well before she was actually cast as Barbie. She was like being a producer and helping like make decisions in the movie.
What I can imagine, and I don't know.
Also, the Coen brothers,
about
before they
any
could
of
be
it.
billed as co-directors, one of them was always billed as the producer.
All I know is if I see Martin Scorsese produce this film, the first thing I think of in my mind is that Martin Scorsese had nothing to do with the production of this film. Because if he did, he's the type of guy that would want to direct the film because he actually gives a shit about the outcome of the film.
In my mind, it's just people helping ideas come together with money. But I think that's a lot of it. I think that's what you can say for it, is that they help.
I think he
people
believed in the people that were in
contact,
place.
And that's important.
Because he's putting his name on it, so he wants to believe in the people.
Well, putting the right people together is a pretty important part of the production of large-scale art. Making sure the right people are working together is kind of huge. So, like, yeah, it is mostly just money and brunches and lunches and phone calls and fucking
Schmoozing.
lawyers and all that shit, but a lot of the best things in the world wouldn't have been produced without
The right person.
producers.
Yeah.
So,
in my experience, producers, and this is just kind of like a lot of it is like watching a lot of Project Greenlight to see how movies are made and stuff. And in my experience, producers don't actually do anything, and I mean that. They don't actually do anything except put up money. And as far as the creative input, they don't even, like, for the most part,
yeah, I don't think they have
even
creative
give
input.
direct. No, I mean, like, they do, because like if they don't like what you're doing, they'll just shut you down. You know,
Well,
So you have to cater to them to some extent. But I think for the most part, producers are like, they have assistants and shit. Like, for the most part, it's just some dude that gave you money and he trusts you to do the right thing. And just to keep you on the up and up, they're going to assign one of their right-hand people to follow you around to make sure that you're not fucking up. You know, like, I just don't think producers actually do anything.
Well, like I said, to
I
me,
mean,
it's
they get to hold the Oscar if you win. Like, I guess they get that.
They arrange people, man. Like with a thing like a film that has so many moving parts, it is still an important part of it to put the right people together. But no, and creatively, they don't do dick.
That's a fucked
Other
up
than
thing.
put creative people together. That's what they do. They put creative people together.
That's a fucked up
And then
thing.
let them go.
Reese wants to talk about the Oscars, like you win Best Actor, like, or Best Actress, like that's a fucking thing that nobody can take from you. Like, you won that, like and voted on by your peers. I mean, like, that's a fucking good award. Best Director, like, the other directors voted for you, you know, and it's like Best Picture is like the prize. It's like the award that they announce last because it's like the one that people give the most shit about, but like. They give the fucking trophy to the producer that didn't do shit.
Yeah.
It's kind of sad. It's really sad.
Yeah. Which is specifically odd because like no one lists as like the
Right.
all the movies that Harvey Weinstein produced aren't Harvey Weinstein movies. They're, Kevin Smith movies and Quentin Tarantino movies and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just very odd that it goes to producers. Unless, I mean, it makes sense when the producers are like the directors and the writers, like.
Right.
But yeah, I never really got why the producer gets the best picture Oscar.
I mean, it's the best picture is a bunch of people that did the work.
Yeah.
So were you going to give one award to 500 people?
Yeah, I think you should.
Logistically, like.
Yeah, I mean, like if a movie has 12 producers, they all get the Oscar. But like,
Right.
I guess if you're a supporting actor in a movie and that movie wins Best Picture, in your mind, did you win an Oscar?
No, but I mean, I've been in an Oscar-winning movie.
I don't think that's like, because I've heard Charlie Sheen say it. He said, he's like, I won Best Picture when I was like 22 years old or whatever. I didn't even know what I was doing.
Yeah.
Like it's fucking easy for me.
I mean,
like,
you're definitely a big
like,
part of why the movie won. So
yeah. I don't know. It's just an interesting theory there. Interesting thought.
No,
What else you got, Reese? I know you got other stuff. You said you had a laundry list.
I watched Can't Hardly Wait. It's fine.
It's like the '90s teeny bopper film about like a party and.
Yep.
So when I was, I want to say this movie came out when I was like fucking
1998.
Yeah, 1998. So that would have made me 17. I did see it in the theater with a girlfriend I was seeing at the time and her friend and the dumbass that she was dating at the time. I think they're married now. Stupid people. She was obsessed with the movie. I want to say it was like the fourth time she saw it. Nobody needs to see this movie 4 times.
No.
It's
I could see why it was a cult classic or kind of, but like even
it's just one of those movies, a generational thing. That
yeah, it just
it's gonna be what it is and matter to the people that it matters to when it happened, and that's what it is.
You know what I think it is? There's this like the one like man, I don't remember this movie very well at all, but I do remember there was one like character who was like the wholesome male. Like kind of dorky, but like very positive all the time character.
The main character, yeah.
Is he the main character? Yeah, and I think that people just like that
Ethan
character.
Embry.
That's what I think. I think women especially like that character.
Well, it's weird because in a modern lens, the character is portrayed like if that character was in a modern movie.
He's a romantic. He's like a classic hopeless romantic.
I can tell I'm like this guy is clueless that he's not. Like he's not treating this person he's like idolizing this person like an angel and a perfect thing, and like he doesn't know her at all, but he literally thinks he's in love with her and they're destined to be together. It's like in a modern movie, this character is not a good guy.
Yeah. And
then so for this movie, I was like, I can't honestly tell if I'm supposed to be on this guy's side or not, because I don't think he should end up with Jennifer Love Hewitt. Who's so freaking hot.
Oh, man, I don't find her attractive at all.
That's weird.
I've seen her act.
So I was kind of glad they don't.
It takes more than just a nice rack to get
end
to
up
me.
Together.
You have to have acting chops.
Chaps.
I mean the chaps.
And then I watched The Woodsman.
Oh, fuck!
Because you mentioned it, and
I like
God. Movies that get into really hard, weird
topics. I'm curious to see your thoughts on this. First off, you already brought up Kira Sedgwick earlier.
Yeah,
she's actually in this film with her husband, Kevin Bacon. This is the movie I've brought up to both of you before. Kevin Bacon plays a dude who just got out of prison for
being a pedophile.
Child molestation. Yeah. And this is like basically a story about him reintegrating into the world. And I gotta say, man, it is like it's kind of a rough movie to watch at some points. It is not a comfortable movie to watch.
He's definitely like still kind of in even though he just came out of prison for a 12-year sentence, he's still kind of in denial that he's like a bad person. And he's trying to, but he's also like still obviously having inclinations towards children. And it's
those are the parts that are kind of like make you squeamish.
Yeah.
You know? Like
it's like, I don't know. I'm glad it was directed by a woman. I think if it had been directed by a man, I'd be very uncomfortable. Like this, it can just so easily feel like exploitative or inappropriate. But
right.
What'd you?
But I mean, those fucking that kind of subject matter can't not feel to a degree that way. Like it doesn't matter who, like, I don't know.
Well, no, obviously it's supposed to be uncomfortable.
Yeah.
You know, honestly, maybe it's supposed to be exploitative to a certain degree. I mean, do we need to be depicting these instances at all? Like, is it ethical to put like child actors in these situations?
Yeah.
But I thought it was really interesting. I liked.
I actually really liked the movie. I actually think it's a really good movie.
Yeah.
I'm curious to see. Like, I don't want to ruin it for listeners who haven't seen this, because I do think this is one that everybody should see, because there's no movie like it. Like really, I mean, like I think most people are afraid to touch this topic. Like it's a cringy one.
Yeah.
But I'm curious what you thought of the ending, like, and where they went without giving it away. Because they kind of make you think it's going one way, and then it kind of goes another way, and it kind of got the I don't know, like the Sean Penn Mystic River kind of an ending, I guess.
Yeah, I don't know. I kind of liked it. It was,
Did you think it was a cop out, or do you?
No, because I felt like it was definitely portraying it. He was kind of finally coming to understand.
Like he found himself in the whole ordeal, kind of.
A little bit of that, and I can see why people would be upset about that if that's like, oh, I understand now, But like it felt more to me like he's finally understanding that he has been like hurting people. Yeah. And he's like maybe actually finally repentant.
Yeah, I would imagine that's the self discovery that you want out of that, right?
There's a really. It's been a minute, but I remember there's a really cringy scene with him and like a little girl in the park, and I think it's towards the end of the movie, and he kind of starts to do some like sketchy like hey, you want to sit on my lap and like that type of stuff, and like she like reacts a certain way that like where there's this moment in the film that just like clicks in his brain that like, oh fuck, like this is it, this is the like.
Yeah, because he says
this is the shit that I've done, and like his whole like everything that he's putting into this conversation just kind of takes a turn to where he realizes like, oh fuck, I don't want you to sit on my lap,
I think they could have gone a little bit further in that scene as far as like being a little bit more repentive, because like. But no, I like that scene. But because it's oh
dude, it's hard to watch.
He's been
man.
like building a relationship with this girl, kind of like offhandedly for the whole movie, and then he does try to do something inappropriate with her, and then like she has like the reaction of someone who's like, I don't want to do this, but I kind of trust you.
Like she's been taught stranger danger for sure.
Yeah. And then he like finds out that this is happening to her from somebody else, and then you can see it on his face of like
it's that moment when you are a predator or have been a predator, and the stranger danger handbook, and you start hearing it recited towards you, that like everything clicks, like, oh fuck, I am the stranger danger. Anyway,
no, these are movies that art should touch on every subject, and art,
I agree.
Real art is.
I just don't know if certain topics should use like underage people to portray them like
right. So I mean,
hey, we want realism here.
That's. I understand I understand and appreciate that, but at the same time, like, what are you gonna have a fucking 20-year-old person like in cartoonish dress, or you're gonna CGI people?
But I mean, you could take that argument to the extreme in any degree of like, we're not going to kill horses on screen because like, well, what are you going to do? Build a prop horse? Like, yes, if we can't do it with a prop horse or a CGI horse, maybe it shouldn't be done,
Right. No, I get that reaction. I understand, but it depends on, I mean, you'd have to know the kids involved. I suppose, to know if they're mentally competent to handle. Because it's about competency in my mind, if they can handle the stories being told. Because there's a movie that got universally shit on during COVID that Netflix put out, Cuties.
Mm-hmm.
That was a really good film.
Yeah.
And it was the same thing, like, oh, you have children, you have girls acting these roles. Like, you're a fucking pedophile for producing this movie. Like,
Yeah.
but the movie's not about that at all. It's actually about a fucking story. Like, it's about highlighting these problems, and the main character actually, like, comes away from all of that and in shame and remorse and wanting to fucking, recenter her life in a way not to that end. And, like, how would you have these stories without that? So I think it's worth the time. It's worth the art. And it gets into weird with film. So I guess the only thing is to make it animated, I suppose. Like,
Yeah,
and
I mean,
would that make it any less weird, or does that make it any more appropriate for it to be animated?
I mean, to the point of not having like an actual child have to do it,
Right.
You can, but I mean, also, I'm not saying like I don't know. We've had enough bad experiences with child actors that maybe there's an argument for like, let's get rid of child actors. Like,
So you think you think it should have been like somebody in their like mid-20s?
well, first of all, in the
like an
Woodsman
8-year-old?
specifically, I don't think there's anything that inappropriate. I think the conversations
Yeah,
have are obviously with a person who's probably old enough to understand she's probably like 13 or 14. Like, she can comprehend the idea that we're pretending, talking about bad things that didn't happen, but like, I don't know. We are getting to a point where you could probably get away with a pretty decent like CGI child.
Oh my god! Really, Reese? Really?
I'm
We're just gonna cut the actor out because you like.
movies. Okay.
Well, most any movie that's going to be the subject matter is probably not going to be produced in the first place. But I don't know. To me, it depends on. I don't know. Do you have to fuck? To me, it just depends on the fucking person. Depends on the person.
Yeah. No, I think
portrayed. It depends on the actors.
I like
involved.
realism.
The
I
thing
want
is
real people
that
in my movies.
so
Some
much
kids are
child acting things are run through the parents, and so many child actor parents are exploitative and don't really give a shit about their kids.
No,
I listened to the Smartless podcast.
Probably should be a movie about that.
Jason Bateman.
Honestly.
Listen to Jason Bateman on the Smartless podcast is hilarious because he was totally that child actor who paid all of his family's bills. I mean, like he's been Will Arnett always jokes on the podcast that he's so mature because he's been supporting a family of 5 since he was 8 years old.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, it's a weird fucking subject and it gets into weird spaces, but at the end of the day, man, fucking art is art, and art should be uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Sometimes.
I just don't think art
anything away from it.
should be uncomfortable for people making it
who
don't choose to be uncomfortable.
Sure, but I mean, we don't know exactly how the production goes. Like, you give me like evidence that the production's gone that way, then I will fucking burn somebody's house down.
Yeah.
By all means, but.
So this is a lot of words on the Woodsman. It is a. I don't care. It is obviously kind of like a lightning rod of a movie.
Yeah.
Any of those.
I think it's a very good movie. I actually had it on a short list movie that I want to pick. I think it's a good conversation. We can get in the weeds with this forever, but we need to move on.
We do.
It's currently on Amazon Prime if you want to catch it.
Reese, what else?
That's
run through 'em.
the end of the highlights.
Okay. I've got a couple here. I have finally seen Poor Things.
Yes.
And Poor Things is I know you brought it up in the last episode, I believe.
I believe it was last episode, yeah.
Okay, yeah. Best movie of 2023. If you disagree, then your opinion is wrong. It's man, this movie's got everything.
Honestly, yeah.
It's got good art direction,
fantastic writing,
good acting. It's got my dude in it.
Willem.
Yeah, Willem Dafoe, basically playing kind of a cross between Dr. Frankenstein and Dr. Moreau.
But so much more pleasant, kind of.
Yeah, it's Frankenhooker, but smarter.
So
yeah,
I just recently had a conversation with somebody about this movie just the other day. I haven't seen it yet myself. So is it that is a child or baby's brain put into a woman?
a pregnant woman jumps
Dies,
off a bridge,
right.
and the doctor takes the fetus's brain
Right.
and puts it in the woman's
Right.
body.
Okay.
So basically, she is her own mother
right.
and
And
daughter.
so how soon is all the prostitutal debauchery happening?
Oh, it's a while.
It's a while.
Yeah.
It's a while.
Yeah. So basically, when she first is a being, it's like she's like a baby. Like
Right. Yeah. No, I get that. But like,
Yeah,
what's
so-
the timestamp between these things? Because that's like
like
talking
years.
about the things we're talking about, like years. But like, is there a very asserted like, oh, she's developing
no,
faster than
no,
normal?
no.
Actually, yes, there's literally a line.
Because it really needs that.
There-
Because if
there- I
there's
won't-
not
It
that, then
does.
it's kind of an issue.
And,
Yeah.
and then also it
Because
has
then it's a child fucking a bunch of people
yeah.
no.
in an adult body, but still. A
No,
child.
so
Yeah.
basically she's at the beginning of the film, the setting is like basically she's never left the grounds.
Sure.
She's barely been outside.
Right.
She's mostly been like kept in a certain like portion of the premises. And so the whoring comes when she decides to go on kind of a adventure outside. Like she's just gonna hit
So what's
the world.
What's the person when that happens?
First of all, I will say the movie is like very, very fantastical. Like to the point of like a lot of things that are just not even needing an explanation. It's
Right, I know, but I'm just saying, like in context of the conversation we were
so
just
John,
having about
um,
these kinds of things being uncomfortable.
So-
It's
I would
also a
hope that
theme-
it's checking its
So
faces.
John, like I feel like this is part of where you need to see the movie. So there's a movie that Reese and I have seen that it's kind of on my short list also. It's called Being There.
Yeah.
And the whole point is like it's this guy that has like the education of like a child,
Sure.
but like
he's basically mentally handicapped without them ever saying.
yes, but
Yeah.
like the way that he like the cadence at which he speaks, like it's like retarded, but like it sounds to people like it's sophisticated,
Right.
and I feel like her character kind of has a little bit of that in it.
Sure.
Like people are drawn to her.
Well, it's very explicit that like immediately all of the men, every man wants to take advantage of her or is a sleazebag because they're attracted to this person who's like
Right.
a child, you know,
Yeah.
And
everyone tries to take advantage.
once she discovers sex, like like basically masturbation, she's like obsessed with it.
Right.
Like so that part's already kind of there. Like she
Right.
just enjoys the act, you know.
It
and is
doesn't
drawn to
give
it.
it doesn't give any real timeline, but they are pretty apparent saying that she is like maturing faster than like
Right.
Like-
I just think that like especially like if we're gonna like say that this other film, like we want to make sure that children are exploited in filmmaking in this way. Like I still think that if you're gonna have a hard line on that, then like the idea of children should also be not exploited. Like I hope that there is like a clear line
There is.
in the development, and like it doesn't take much to satisfy me. Give me a fucking quick flash on a calendar, some stuff like that. But like because it's pretty like if it is again it could be. I'd have to see that. I have to watch the movie. But
Yeah,
if
you
it's-
should
if
watch the
it's-
movie,
if
and
it's a 10
then we should have the conversation.
If it's a 10-year-old intellectually in a 20-year-old body having a bunch of sex, then you should feel the same way about. If
well,
it were a
that's
10-year-old
I mean
having
that's
a bunch
another
of
thing.
sex.
I don't think like for a good chunk of it, like I don't want to get into
I'm
spoilers.
super intrigued to watch the movie.
I'm just
not
saying
getting
for
me
a
wrong.
good
I'm not trying to
chunk of
rally
it, it
against
is
it.
there. You
but
are
I'm-
obviously being supposed to. It's very clear that she herself is
Yeah.
interested in sex.
Right.
She's not being forced into anything.
Right,
that is
right.
very obvious. But it is also very apparent
that
that
everyone's using.
everyone is using
Yeah,
her and
sure.
like doing it inappropriately.
But the
Yeah.
thing is, it goes both ways because she's doing the same.
Yes.
Right, like she's using sex as, I mean, first off, it's something that she actually enjoys. So, like, she's using it as currency in her own life at this point.
Yeah.
I mean, like, I get to do the like she says many times. It's like the thing that she
That's
would
literally
prefer to
why
be doing all
she
the
gets
time.
into
So, like,
prostitution, because she's like, wait, I get to
You're just
I get
gonna
to get
pay
laid
me to do
and
this?
get money.
Right. Yeah, I'm beyond curious after talking to somebody about it the other day and hearing that
John, you'll love it, dude. It's fantastic.
I think-
It's absolutely
Yeah,
fantastic.
I will be very curious.
I think visually the go-to reference is Terry Gilliam.
Yeah, visually
no,
I'm sure.
it
I've heard
definitely
nothing
has
but
some,
good things about the
yeah.
person I was talking to said nothing but rave things about how beautiful the film was.
Well, yeah,
But it was just very strange in its
Well,
capturing of what it's capturing,
yeah, it is a strange film, and if you've ever seen anything directed by this dude, he makes strange movies.
Oh yeah, I mean he actually has gotten into topics of pedophilia and incest and stuff.
Yeah.
Right.
He
He's
gets
a
into
weird
like
dude.
very strange topics.
The one other movie I was gonna bring up, just because I haven't had a chance to watch all that much new stuff. The other movie I did watch was ckery.
I've heard decent things.
Yeah, it was actually a cool little movie. It's I don't have the director here, but
Steven Soderbergh.
it is Steven Soderbergh. Okay, so I mean Steven Soderbergh, he's done a lot of things that you've seen.
Three
guaranteed.
Oceans movies.
Yeah, and many. I think my favorite Steven Soderbergh movie is Burn After Reading. You ever see that one?
No, that's Coen Brothers.
Oh, is that Coen Brothers?
Yeah.
What am I thinking of?
Logan Lucky is probably my favorite of his.
Steven Soderbergh. He did.
He's done. Oh, Magic Mike. He's done things with
not Magic Mike.
a lot of the same actors.
All right. Well, I was
I'm
thrown off
familiar.
because in my mind he did Burn After Reading, but that is Coen Brothers. You're correct. Okay. So anyway,
Here we go.
it's
Wait,
got
wait.
Zoe.
Kravitz.
Yeah, Zoe Kravitz, Lenny Kravitz's daughter.
Yeah.
She's pretty good. Anything I've seen her in so far, she's been pretty
The
good.
only thing I've seen her in was the Batman.
She did the High
and it
Fidelity.
was-
They did a High Fidelity series.
Yeah, I was curious about that.
So it's interesting because that's all gender like reversals. So you've seen the John Cusack.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah.
So her name is Rob,
yeah.
and she plays a female, and like it's like every single character in the movie is just gender reversed. It's interesting, and
That's
honestly,
interesting, yeah.
it's a good watch. But also, I would say that like if you've seen the movie, it's pretty much like it doesn't add a lot. Like I mean,
yeah. It's just
But-
a little.
but
it's
it's
a lot
longer.
of the same jokes. It's just coming from
Yeah.
a woman
just
instead of a
just
man,
just
and
an
like.
experiment.
But I did find it like I love High Fidelity as a movie, and
Yeah.
I thought the series was just as good, so I
Right
thought
on,
it was
right
worth a
on.
watch.
It's cool.
But anyway, those are the two things I watched. Poor Things, I think it's the best movie. It's 2023. Willem Dafoe is amazing.
Does he play the scientist, I presume?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, what the fuck else would he play?
He's like Dr. Frankenstein, and he actually looks like Frankenstein's monster.
yeah.
like he's
Yeah,
like all
yeah,
sewn
he
together
does.
and shit.
Fucking Willem, man.
With
it's
honestly
so good.
some fantastic makeup.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
It looks
yeah.
like really good.
Yeah, the movie does a really good job of just being in its own place. I mean,
Yeah, I'm very curious because I will dissect the fuck out of it as I do with those kinds of things. So.
Yeah.
all right. Well, we need to get to the feature here because
Honestly, other people have made the comparison with it and Barbie, but I will say, if you think Barbie is anti-man, I felt Poor Things was much more anti-man.
It sounds a lot like it, and it may annoy me, but we'll find out.
There's not really any redemptive men.
if
in
it, I don't think it'll annoy you, and if it does, I don't get it.
Yeah.
I don't see the correlation.
What
with
annoyed
Barbie.
me about Barbie is the corporate interest of Barbie. 'cause
There's
that's
no
what I
corporate
thought
interest.
Yeah, there's no
Barbie
corporate-
was just a bunch of corporate
this is
interest.
the least corporate movie of all time.
But
I mean,
Yeah.
like,
so the thing that
yeah.
I'll say, if it is the thing I'll say for anything that's anti anything in the world now, and this was my issue with Barbie, is that we need less division. And so if it's just an overtly divisive piece of art, I don't think it's useful. And that's the fucking cap I'll put on that. Any art that is purely divisive, I think we're past that fucking point.
It's written
'cause-
and directed by a man, so.
Yeah.
But it's written and directed by a man who I believe as no, that was the director of
We can't get anybody right today, so it's fine.
Dogville. He was the one that like hates America.
Yeah.
But no,
Yeah,
Yorgos
Lars von
Lanthimos
Trier.
A man that hates hates
is
men.
very very not American. He's got some very interesting opinions and ways he makes movies.
Well, I'll check it out, and then we will discuss it.
Yeah.
All right, on to the feature.
All right, so double feature. My choices were Diggstown and Warrior. We did. It was Fight Night Part 1.
Yeah.
Fight
And
Night Part 1.
We're gonna start off with. We'll do it in the order we watch them, even though I think that there's more to say about the first movie than the second one. So the first movie, Diggstown, this is a perfect movie for a fight night because there are 10 fights in one movie.
Bunch of fights.
All the fights.
For anyone who wants to watch it, is currently available to buy on Vudu, and it's available on Roku, Tubi, Redbox, Pluto, and Freevee with ads.
Yeah, I just watched it on Amazon just before we got here tonight, and I was so pissed because there's no options to just rent the thing. And I'm like, God damn it, Amazon! I will pay you money to not show me ads. Isn't that the point of ads?
Yeah.
Like, what the fuck?
So you had to watch ads?
Only place
I had to watch ads.
the only place to watch it without ads is on Vudu, it looks like.
You got to buy that motherfucker.
Terrible. I would buy it because it's great. Now I will, but goddamn, I was so annoyed.
Yeah, you got to get
So
on Vudu.
Diggstown is directed by Michael Ritchie, who's actually, if you actually look at all of his work, he's actually done. It's weird because he mostly does this type of movie. It's like dramedies.
Yeah.
Bad News Bears, the original Bad News Bears, and Fletch are some of the things.
Oh, he did
he's done.
both Fletch movies.
Yeah, he's done basically all the Fletch movies. He also did a movie, The Scout, with what's your dude from Broadcast News with curly hair?
Oh, Albert Brooks.
Albert Brooks, yeah.
And Brendan Fraser.
Yeah. So anyway, I think Brendan Fraser is one of the worst actors of all time. But this movie, The Scout, awful. Just an awful movie. It logistically makes no sense. In a sports world, makes no sense. It is one of the most unbelievably ridiculous movies ever. I've seen it too many times to make that statement. But anyway, Michael Ritchie, starring James Woods as Gabriel Kane, Oliver Platt as Fitz, Louis Gossett Jr. as Honey Roy Palmer, and Bruce Dern as John Guillaume. Also, Heather Graham as a chick.
As a very pretty girl.
As a piece of ass.
A piece of ass.
I mean, so it's at least...
She's just a sister of a dude.
It's at least not like fucking super overtly like nobody's like trying to fucking grab her. Like it is honestly like
it is weird because she serves the plot. She has a reason to be there.
She has a reason to be
her
there.
Her introduction though is just like wooga.
No, it is, but it's not like it's not the most heavy-handed thing. Like it's pretty much just like
she wears jean cutoffs that are like
smart.
all the way up.
Well, no. She does wear that, but like the characters aren't literally.
She's probably like
salivating.
16.
Like there's James Woods does some double takes.
Yeah,
and that's the extent of it. Like it identifies.
Yeah, I did like that there wasn't like a Hamden romance.
There would have felt inappropriate.
This
movie's very straight to the point.
Yeah, she was a pretty girl. She was a pretty girl prop, but she played in the story.
So basically, this movie is about a long con involving James Woods' character, Gabriel Kane, who just got out of prison. He had a friend in prison named Wolf, who was from this town, Diggstown. They take two things seriously. They're boxing and they're betting.
Yeah.
And basically, Wolf, before he went to prison, learned that this one man, Bruce Dern's character, John Guillaume, had basically stolen the entire town. He owns the entire town. He owns everything. Owns all the property. And so this is all basically one long con to steal the town back from this piece of shit.
Yeah.
Do you want the letterbox?
Overtly...
Yeah, let's do the letterbox.
Blurb. Gabriel Kane has just been released from prison when he sets up a bet with a businessman. The businessman owns most of a boxing-made town called Diggstown. The bet is that Gabe can find a boxer that will knock out 10 Diggstown men in a boxing ring within 24 hours. Honey Roy Palmer is that man, Although at 48, many say he's too old. And the tagline is, and I think this works, where the pros meet the cons.
Oh,
I
It's
like
actually
that.
pretty solid. Yeah, that's pretty good. I'm all right with that.
I feel like the fact that we think that that's actually a pretty good tagline just goes to show how bad taglines
Yeah, most of
are.
the time.
Yeah,
Most
yeah.
of the time.
Oh God.
But it makes it.
It's solid enough. I
The
think
professionals meet the con men, and they meet them in Diggstown. It works. I think it's a great, great tagline.
solid, yeah, I concur.
So I chose this movie because it was one of my favorites growing up. I watched it when it came out. I've seen it many, many times. I love a lot of the characters. It's fun as hell. Oliver Platt as Fitz, I think, is one of the most underrated characters.
Oh, he's so funny.
Yeah, he kind of is the first one to arrive at the scene in Diggstown and start
do the preliminary setup.
yeah,
basically.
doing the preliminary setup. He plays a dude who comes in and I guess hustles a bunch of the locals and takes a bunch of money and some vehicles.
I like
from
how
them and-
part of, like one of the steps in this con is just being really good at poker.
Yeah, yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
you could just be a professional poker player.
The important part is that he told everybody, like, "Hey, man, you don't want me to sit down? No, you sit the fuck down." Like, I don't know, guys.
Yeah.
Are you sure? I'm gonna take all your money.
Yeah.
You know, you put cards in these hands, it just turns to money.
And then it does.
And that's one of the funniest parts. Is like he's drank like 8 pitchers of beer
Yeah.
and fucking he played pool and cards and like they're like, "You've been hustling us," and he's like, "Hustling? Did I ask you guys to play cards or to shoot pool? Hell no! I kept telling you I was gonna win and take your money."
So the scene after that, I didn't catch until just the rewatch tonight. But he did take some pills to
Yep.
make sure he didn't get drunk.
Yes.
Yeah.
So he was hustling to a degree for
Yeah,
sure. But he was still good at the shit.
No effect on the hangover though.
No effect on the hangover. No. That scene led to my favorite line in the movie is when after they decide to bet for pink slips, or just before they decide to bet for pink slips, the two locals go outside and look at this.
So this is
ridiculous
Guillaume's son
truck.
and his stupid ass
Yeah.
friend
And
who
look
is
at this
who
ridiculous
is Jesus.
truck this dude came
What's his name? His friend is played by the dude who played Jesus in Passion, John Caviezel.
What? Really?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure Billy is John Caviezel, is he not?
Which one was Billy? The guy's son?
No, not his son.
No,
his
his-
son's
his
friend,
buddy,
the other guy
yeah.
in the headgear.
Oh.
that I think said the line.
Oh, Jim Caviezel.
Yeah.
Billy Hargrove.
Yeah,
Wow, I did not catch him.
yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah, so they go outside, and so Fitz rolled in this like the most ridiculous Ford truck you could ever imagine
Oh, yeah.
for the time.
Completely
Yeah.
decked out.
Oh,
Stacked,
yeah.
It's fucking
Old-
Modern
overdecked
trucks
out.
dwarf this thing.
yeah,
but
yeah.
For the
back in
time.
the day, it was like,
Yeah.
oh fucking Jesus Christ, you know.
Yeah.
But, like these kids roll outside, like this is his truck. God damn, I'd give my dick for a truck like that. My favorite line in the movie, man.
then Jim Caviezel says, "What would be the point of having it?"
Yeah, good stuff.
So anyway, so basically, this entire initial setup hustle is meant to come to a point where he talks shit about the town hero,
Yeah.
Mr. Charles Mason Diggs, who is the like kind of the heavyweight contender who never was.
Yeah. And this is just after James Woods' character,
Who is played by the guy in the portrait from Ghostbusters 2, by the way.
Yes, yes. Oh, that is an
Yeah.
important notable there.
That is hilarious.
Good
yeah.
eye by you, Reese, of noticing that. Because as soon as you said it, I'm like, God damn it, you're right.
Yeah. Just prior to that, James Wood also laid some foundation for this hustle by basically calling out the guy in his home ground and like creating the animosity and the tension that would just make sure this bet would go through. But one of my favorite things about this movie too is just that, man, James Wood kills it for a character that I would never think he could pull off.
Yeah.
You know, like I would never think James Woods could be that goddamn slick and charismatic and smooth, because his fucking James Woods, but man, he really does a good job in this movie. He drives it home.
He doesn't even come off as slimy, which is surprising.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
James
Yeah.
Woods.
Yeah, you're rooting for him the whole time.
Yeah, I was like,
Yeah.
Yeah. So
this guy's
he's
fucking
got
plucky.
so his whole half of this bet is covered by a loan shark. So you don't have to worry about shit because he's basically got free money.
Well, unless it goes bad.
Unless it goes bad, then he dies. But like
Yeah.
he's already like
You know he's not.
he's already resigned to that fact that if it
Yeah.
doesn't work, he dies. So there's a scene later in the movie where like the nephew of the loan shark kind of like just as a reminder, and like they do this like little almost hanging thing.
Yeah.
And he's like, you can tell they have a history. He's like, maybe this is the time I actually get to kill you. And he's like, well, there's that distinct possibility, but I bet $4 against an hour with your mother that doesn't turn out that
Oh,
way.
yeah.
And it's just like the fact that like even at this point, like they got a noose around his neck, and he's
Yeah.
just like right there with the
Yeah.
the finger guns
Yeah.
out. Like I've got zingers all day, man. Keep coming at me.
Yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
man.
Well, his character is fun. The movie's fun. The best part, though, is this whole little point about how you get a boxer to actually knock out 10 guys in one night. And it's easy. You fix as many of the fights as you
Yeah,
can.
no, that's the funny thing is like they're each like, oh, we take this betting seriously. Like, oh, let's do this. I'm gonna fucking bet as seriously as you. And both sides of this thing are just trying to fix this.
Oh, dirty
Yeah.
it
every
as
which
much
way
as
from
possible.
Sunday, every time, man, every time. And it's
Fixing fighters, like
so. Hey, if everybody's fixing it, then
Murdering
it is fair.
fighters.
yeah,
Yeah.
holding people hostage.
I was
Oh, yeah.
kind of waiting for like him to like start giving his guys like brass knuckles or some shit.
Right,
Like I thought he was
yeah.
gonna get actual like violent.
Now the guy that runs this town he's about the like he's like the white man, like the most evil of, like, the best
Played by,
example of the white man.
Played by the great Bruce Dern, which honestly, selfishly, I think this is like one of his best performances.
Oh yeah, for sure. He's had some weird ones.
Now-
Yeah, he's always kind of a weird guy.
It's funny because when you were saying who was in it, you said it wasn't Bruce Dern. It was the guy from Straight Story. So I was surprised when Bruce Dern showed up. It's like, oh, it is Bruce Dern.
No, you're getting your references messed up. I was talking about Rhinestone in the last episode, which was the Dolly Parton, Sylvester Stallone movie where Sylvester Stallone becomes a country music star. That's the one that has the dude from Straight Story.
You were right.
All right.
Yeah. So anyway, we should check that movie out. Anyway,
Yeah, I want to
like,
watch that.
Straight Stone and Rhinestone. Straight Story and Rhinestone
we should
double
just do
feature.
Rhinestone on a random Friday when we're all free. Like, just
I can visualize him trying to sing country. Like, his stupid fucking mouth.
dude. You know what's funny? It's like it's like not a good movie, but like, God, you're really pulling for him. And like,
Right, come on, buddy.
yeah,
you can
and
do
like
it.
it's got the scene. It's got the scene at the end where he's actually like performing, and like like. I gotta give it to him. It's not bad.
I
Like,
feel like he sings in one of the Rocky movies. I
he
can't back
does-
that up, but I feel like he does.
I've seen all the Rocky movies way more times than all of you combined, and I'm talking to
Absolutely.
all of all 14 of our or 75 of our listeners or whatever. I've seen the Rocky movies a lot, and yes, there is one scene in a bedroom where he sings to his wife, but it's not really like
Yeah.
singing. It's like quiet
Sing
singing.
talking.
Yeah. Anyway,
No, I think James Woods and Oliver Platt really like play such likable and fun characters.
Oh, they do. Yeah,
against
for sure.
Bruce Dern's like 100% evil.
Oh,
yeah,
fuck,
just
he is.
racist, like
Yeah.
like
Grooming
stole
his-
the town
grooming
and
his
like is
fucking
proud
kid
of
to
it.
keep this town stolen and fucking. Oh, the scene where he's like with his son in the boxing, in the building, in the gym, I don't know, gym, whatever venue. But he's just telling him like, oh, you're gonna run this fucking town, and you know how you need to see people, like people need to see you, and then you know that you're the next up. And like he walks into the room where he apparently cleared out the fucking boxing rink. Which, I mean, that's a pretty good amount of work to do. He has a fucking Corvette in there, then with a disco ball above. Like, man, this guy's just fucking, he's got all his bases covered for grooming his fucking son to be another fucking egotistical maniac.
Which the son has the Corvette in his possession for about an hour before he loses it in a bet.
Yeah. No, I definitely, it was just a super fun movie for the time, especially. Like, it's pretty awesome pacing. It just gets right to it.
The pacing, I think, is one of the keys to the movie. It just starts and then goes.
Yep.
And the fights don't even start until like really the last like 45 minutes of the movie, and then it's just I don't know. You're just on a train the whole time, really.
Yep. No, it was nothing but fun, nothing but action in a sense, not like action, but like it's quippy fucking dialogue.
Yeah, like there really no lulls in the story. It was
and also, I think the nice little surprise ending. They throw a couple road bumps, and it's like like it's not as predictable as what you would think what you would think it would be.
Yeah, the scene where the guy calls in the ringer, where she's like, oh, I'm not gonna call in a ringer, but he calls in a ringer from the prison, and it's like, oh, he's whipping his ass, and then James Woods steps up and does the shit that
a whistle he
did to him in the beginning with the thumbs down.
Yeah.
It's like, I honestly I was genuinely surprised. Oh, son of a bitch! Look at this cheeky bastard. That's great.
He had it the whole time.
That was very fun.
So my favorite part is right before that is Bruce Dern's character, like when he tells him like, oh well, you thought that one of my guys like quit, but really he never stepped into the ring, so that doesn't even count as as a forfeit. So we still have one more fighter, and it's like, here's my guy. I'm ready whenever you are. And then he's like, never try and hustle a hustler. And then after it's like, oh well, I already had this guy fixed, and so we win. He's just like, I think it's actually never try to count a con man, especially one who's better than you are. And it's kind of cheesy, but then Bruce Dern's reply is just like, you beat me fair and square. I always laugh at that because like nothing about this was fair and square, nothing, and it's just like this honor among thieves thing.
I think that's the thing. When everybody's hustling, it is fair. Like when everybody's hustling each other, like you hustle the hustler. That is kind of honor among thieves. That is kind of fair and square.
Yeah, no, it is indeed. It is indeed. I'm glad you guys. It sounds like you at least semi enjoyed it.
I enjoyed the shit out of it.
There are some issues with it for sure. Louis Gossett Jr., 48.
I do like how like this con again is just that like part of the con is you have to have the world's greatest boxer. Like,
it is because it purely does. It really needs that
because there's literally
they have to perform.
You just have to like accept that there's no amount of realism to this story.
Which the funny thing too, like James Woods' character, like went into this set up this whole thing without any actual like confirmation from the boxer that he would even be involved. And that was one of the scenes that I watched before I came here, was how James Wood handled getting him convinced. That whole little hustle, just play on his emotions, and that was pretty good stuff.
No business, yeah. And like, so like basically got him to poke around and find out what was going on behind his back. So it's like, okay, you just put this in motion, no one that come save your ass.
Now the scene, he shows up to the gym that he's boxing at, and he's like, oh, you got my money? I ain't got your money, but I got this thing. Like, go fuck yourself. Like, all right, cool, you're not interested. Like, what? Like, yeah, you're not interested. I'm cool. Take off. And he just starts walking out. Then, you see fucking boxer stop for a second, look back a little bit. James Wood stops. Like, yeah, there's a wife. Yeah, she's all right. All right, cool. Think so. Fuck. How about you come over for dinner? I was like, gotcha, motherfucker.
It was over at that point.
Gotcha. But yeah, no, it is a super fun movie for sure. It's for anybody that likes 80s stuff, that era of film. It's just a fun. It's an adventure movie, kind of really.
Yeah.
Like,
so one of my
very oceans related.
Yeah, that's what I said. It's the Ocean's 11 of sports movies. I would take it a step further. One of my favorite movies of all time.
Justice, because the white man
is the old Paul Newman flick, The Sting.
Yeah.
And I think that there are a lot of parallels between this film and The Sting. So The Sting, it might be something we revisit in the future of this podcast. But
it's been I think I watched that when I was like a teenager, like a young, like probably 13 or 12, and I loved it, but I haven't seen it since.
it's the same idea. It's the long con. It's all about the long con, which like you know, the idea of the long con is just like there are several smaller cons just setting up the bigger picture, and that's what this movie is.
Yeah.
And it's just a fun movie. Like I don't know how you could like dislike the movie. It's kind of where I fell on it, which is and it's why I picked it. So
yeah.
And also I wanted to do a fight night because we hadn't done a sports movie yet, and so this is like kind of the least sports movie for a boxing movie that has 10 fights in it. It's kind of not really a sports movie.
No, it's not.
Yeah,
it's not.
so,
they use the sport as a prop, basically.
I like how boxing is supposed to have like how many rounds? 10 rounds? And always boxing movies, they show one round and it's over.
Yeah, well, I mean, not exactly the case with this movie.
At most, I think they do like 3 rounds. But it's even with the next movie we're going to talk about, where like these things go on a while, and movies always depict them as like, boom, it's over.
One of my favorite scenes is when he's fighting. It's really the last Diggstown fighter he fights, which is the tank.
Yeah.
The guy with the ponytail is just like 350
Yeah.
pounds of
Right.
tank. He's like, holy shit. And like and he's like getting the shit kicked out of him, and he's like they go to like the corner, it's like at the end of round 2 or something like that, and he's just like, look, I get it. He's bigger than you, he's stronger than you, he's faster than you, he's younger than you. He hasn't fought 26 rounds today. But let me tell you this, my friend, you are black.
Yeah.
It's just like, what the fuck's that supposed to mean? It's like, I don't know.
Yeah. You're indomitable, bro. Come on.
So I told you guys the story. I remember when this movie came out, and when I first saw the trailer, they had that scene in the trailer.
Oh yeah.
The you are black.
Right.
But then the way they cut the trailer, they had this other scene that must be a deleted scene because it's not in the movie, and it's when you see so the second to last fight is Hammerhead Hagen, who is they reveal earlier in the movie is the name of the guy who beat him twice. Yeah. It's the only 2 professional losses he had when he was doing professional bouts. And so like the way they cut the trailer, they show like a seat, like just a shot of Hammerhead Hagen and he looks fucking mean. He looks like scary as shit. And like so they show that, and then it goes back to the corner, and him in the corner talking to Gabriel Kane, and he's like, he looks mad. Did you tell him he was black? And I wish they would have kept that scene because it was funny. All right, so super fun movie, Diggstown. I love it.
Yeah, you should watch it for sure.
Yeah.
And if you ever want to go, if you're going on an '80s fucking, journey into some classic that era shit, this should definitely be on the list. I don't know how I didn't know about the movie. It's crazy to me that I didn't know about the movie.
Oh, you mean you didn't immediately seek out the movie with James Woods and Oliver Platt and Louis Gossett Jr.? Come on.
I haven't watched that many things with James Woods, but like I like that era of shit. So I was just surprised that my family does too.
So it's funny. I think a lot of like what you gravitate towards, especially growing up, is like what your family like. If your family watch movies, you watch whatever the fuck your family is watching.
Absolutely.
Like, so that's kind of where this came from for me. I think my stepdad actually must have loved James Woods because I've seen a lot of James Woods movies.
Well, that's huge. That's why I'm such a sci-fi fantasy horror guy.
I'll tell you another one. Another actor who I've seen way more of his movies than what most people have is James Belushi.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I've never a James Belushi fan.
I've just seen a lot of his movies, just randomly because my family was into his shit, and so I've just seen a lot of his movies.
Yeah. I'm like that with Tom Hanks, but I guess he's a pretty big
that's
deal
like everybody though.
Yeah, it's Tom fucking Hanks. Man.
Yeah, he's like the Family Guy.
Yeah.
Still should have been
Guy. So anyway, the other movie.
What'd you say?
Still should have been Bill. I'm never gonna let it die.
Oh my god. Moving on. So the second movie is Warrior, directed by Gavin O'Connor, who's basically only ever directed like sports movies, and is starring Tom Hardy, Joel Edgerton, and Nick Nolte. I love the performance here by Nick Nolte. So basically, it's a pretty simple setup.
Oh wait.
Yeah. Do the thing. Do the thing.
Do the thing. Warrior.
Watch this film.
It's on Netflix.
Oh, there you go.
And it's available to buy all the normal places.
All right.
Do you want the? Go ahead. And
Oh yeah. Do the thing that I hate.
The thing you hate.
The tagline. Yeah, I think this one actually. It's the one that.
Two brothers. You guys ever watch Rick and Morty?
The tagline is not great. I already saw it. It is. Sorry. Come on.
I got ahead of myself.
I love that the interdimensional cable where it's like two brothers, and then a Spanish armada arrives with cats.
Yeah, Rick and Morty.
Oh my god, why is this happening?
All right, so while Reese is doing whatever he's doing,
Technical difficulties.
Tom Hardy plays the character Tommy.
On the nose.
Yeah. And Joel Edgerton plays Brendan. They're brothers.
The youngest son of an alcoholic former boxer returns home, where he's trained by his father for competition in a mixed martial arts tournament, a path that puts the fighter on a collision course with his estranged older brother. Family is worth fighting for.
Oh my god.
They're not really fighting for family, though.
No, they aren't.
No.
That's
What's his name is?
Nick Nolte's fighting for his family. Like he's
Joel Edgerton's fighting
Joel
to support
Edgerton's
his family.
fighting for his family. Tom Hardy's fighting for what he thinks is his family, which is like some dead dude's wife and child.
Yeah.
Um,
I suppose so.
Nick Nolte. So basically, it's kind of a UFC movie. It's kind of revealed that Tom Hardy's character Tommy was world-class wrestler at the high school level. Nick Nolte, alcoholic, probably
Tommy
abusive.
was a world-class wrestler?
Yes, Tom Hardy's character.
Tommy.
That's so weird because like the brother
No.
wrestles people.
Brendan was the high school wrestler.
No, they were both wrestlers. They were both trained by their father.
Yeah, but Tommy had to stop pursuing that.
Yes,
right,
but so Tommy was the one. He was actually chasing a record
Okay.
in high school, and it's actually there's like a graph. So when he starts training Tommy, there's this like old graph that's up, and he's like, after we have this coffee, you should tell me about like, did you continue wrestling? I want to know if you actually got to the record, you know.
Right.
And then there's another conversation between Brennan and Nick Nolte where he's like, I thought so. So basically, at some point in their childhood, the mother gets sick. Tommy goes with the mother and runs away from the father, who's probably an abusive piece of shit. And Brennan decides to stay. Well, at that point, you kind of get the vibe that Tommy was the favorite. Tommy was the one that was getting all the training, all the one-on-one.
For sure, yeah.
And he said the reason I stayed was I thought I'd finally get you get you to myself. But really, you've always been a front runner. You don't root for the underdog. And so Tommy was the one with all the talent, always.
Right.
And so Brennan was, and they talk about it, he had a career in the UFC, but he was a sub 500 fighter.
I remember all that, yeah.
So basically, it's like the thing is, there's not actually an underdog. There's not actually a front runner, even though they kind of build it that way in the family dynamic.
Yeah. Well, they kind of do. They do in the fights, because that's why I thought it was strange, because Brendan is the one, like his first fight, I think he wins through wrestling.
Yeah.
Like he a lot of his fights in the movie were wrestling, and Tommy just knocks motherfuckers out.
So
every fight that dude has until it's his brother, just like, wow,
Yeah.
I'm gone.
So
I'm
as
out.
somebody who's a UFC fan, if you've never seen this movie and you're a UFC fan, there was a female fighter named Ronda Rousey. She was a judo champion. She won the gold medal for the United States in judo. And she is one of the best female UFC fighters of all time. she won every single fight with an armbar.
Yeah.
And this is because it's something she learned how to do in judo, and she just could go into a fight and set it up to where I either break your arm in half or you tap.
Right.
Brendan, Joel Edgerton's character in this movie, every fight that he wins with an armbar. He is literally that character. He has one move.
Yeah.
And that's just how that works. I really have no idea. Like that's it's basically like the fight ends whenever it ends. Like you just whoever is able, if you can like literally walk into the cage and knock your opponent out in one hit. That's
so literally the way the way a UFC fight works, right? So I got to break this down for you. So the way UFC fights where you win by one of three ways. Well, actually, it's one of four ways. Either you knock your opponent out to where they are like unconscious and can no longer respond, which the ref will call the fight. Another one is a TKO, which could be a number of things. It's what they call a technical knockout. It could be because like a disqualification of sorts, or maybe your opponent like kicks you in the nuts too many times. They get a couple warnings and they keep kicking you in the nuts, and it's like, okay, like you're disqualified. So all those things can be TKOs. And then there's a decision, which is if you actually go the distance. And then submission is the other one. So submission is a tap out, which I've got your arm in a position to where you no longer have control of it. I do. And I can literally just lean backwards and break your arm in half because of the position I have you in.
And if they don't tap out, you
can feel the pressure. You can feel they can break your arm, which is what happens in Warrior when the two brothers finally face off in the championship bout, which the position that Brendan got Tommy in, if you've ever watched UFC, you've seen it a million times, the guy always taps. Tommy's this big, prideful, like fucking got a bunch of like buried down shit. He doesn't tap. He makes his brother break his arm. Mm-hmm. And so then, Brendan, the rest of this fight, which is crazy because you're not really rooting one way or another, like they do a good job of building it to where I'm not really like,
it's just a fight.
Yeah. It's just like,
comes out,
like I'm kind of rooting for both of them, and it's like, so they do a good job of like cutting the, basically cutting the fight to where the energy isn't about who's going to win. It's just about like the dynamic between the brothers.
Yeah,
so
and what you built
he makes him break his arm, and he's such a hard-headed like fucking like dick that he just like in his mind, I guess he thinks he can still win or whatever.
There's a technical question. Would they just at that point, if he breaks his arm, would they stop it?
He can no.
Yeah.
If
he stands up,
if you were in the UFC,
in a second arm bar, and he can't tap out because his other arm is broken.
He can noodle.
There might be a TKO if you had so many bones in your body broken you could not physically tap out. And so basically the way it works in the UFC for real is if the ref will call it if they think that you are unable to defend yourself any longer, right? So like. So you got a big dude on your head that's he's been on your back and he's punched you in the head 40 times in the last 30 seconds. If you're like swatting and like trying to get him off your back, like you're still trying to defend yourself, it's good. The second that they think you could no longer defend yourself, that's when they'll call it.
Yeah.
I think honestly is a fan of mixed martial arts. The depictions are really, really great. They do a great job with it. Like I don't see anything. Honestly, if we watch a boxing match and then we watch the movie Rocky, you'd be like, okay, yeah, the effects guy kind of went over with some of the sound and like it's a little over the top with like the impact blow.
You should watch Creed 3.
Yeah, if you watch Warrior and then watch a UFC fight, I think the action actually seems as real as what you will get in a fighting sports movie.
They did pretty great jobs too with the casting. I mean, like they're both built like exactly right for it, like that UFC fighter.
Yeah, the performances in this film were great from all the main characters. They're all fantastic.
I love Nick Nolte in this film. dude with daddy issues talking here. My dad was an alcoholic, was a lot like this guy. Actually, my brother used to tell me a story about how my brother was one of the greatest high school baseball players in Indiana history. You see the sports clippings from his games; it's fucking ridiculous. He'd be like, he was at the plate 5 times, hit 4 home runs, that type of shit. And he always credited my dad. My dad, drunk, beer in his hand, baseball in the other, taught him how to hit a baseball, which was, he's like, sit up at the plate, son, and immediately drilled him with a ball. And he's like, get off the fucking plate. You hit the ball, it won't hit you. And like, it was like this whole thing, and it just kind of that tough love. And yeah, this actually was in the running to be the first pick I ever made because I wanted to do a father-son movie, and I totally get a lot of the father-son dynamics here.
Oh yeah. It's 2 different angles of the father-son.
I love Nick Nolte in this movie. Man, it tears me apart. So Tom Hardy's character comes back into the picture. They haven't seen each other in years, and he's like really like he's like, yeah, like I'm not really, I'm off the women these days. It's like, yeah, it's probably hard to find a woman who can take a punch these days. Yeah. Like just kind of being a dick to him all the time. And he's like 1,000 days sober when they like reconnect.
Yeah.
And he's like, I think I liked you better drunk. And it's like, man, every time he like makes these little comments, you're like, fuck, dude.
Yeah.
Like he's trying. He's fucking
trying, buddy. Come on.
I don't know, but the more the movie goes on, they do a really great job of like you're not really rooting for Tommy or Brendan, but also like as hard as they are to Nick Nolte, like the more you learn, it kind of is like, I mean, it feels like they're doing what they should be doing, and this like you have not treated them right. You have not. Yeah. They do not owe you anything.
The thing I love about the dynamic of like whatever his past was, they don't specifically mention anything.
Yeah.
But like, it must be bad because they're both just like, fuck you.
Yeah.
Like you don't come around my family before you call first.
Well,
like,
it's funny though because in this situation they're still like they have that barrier, but they're like, yeah, help me out. Train me. Yeah. But at a certain point, man, like when do you try? Like these guys are what? In their fucking late 20s? At least one of them is late 20s. Like, I think at that point,
Joel's supposed to be like early 30s.
Yeah, I think he's supposed to be early 30s. He's supposed to be basically like he was in the UFC, kind of scrubbed out because he was a mediocre fighter.
That's why he's like the underdog because he's too old.
I see Nick Nolte was trying pretty hard, man. I mean, if I'm that old, my dad's trying that hard, and he's 1,000 days sober.
Yes, but
a little less of a dick.
It was obvious. We have seen, first of all, Tom Hardy's character is like seeing him for the first time in years.
Right.
Like he has no reason to believe anything. Like,
no.
Honestly, if someone's been abusive to you for years and years, and you walk into a room and see him for the first time, and they say, "Hey, I've changed," you shouldn't trust them.
No. You're not gonna. But like they keep him. I'm just saying. There's a certain point that a human being's got to like be reciprocative, to somebody that if they're trying, or otherwise, we don't get anywhere. Just getting stewing in bad relationships and terrible shit.
But I also think like family relationships are overrated. Like if you shouldn't stick around with somebody if they're being abusive to you.
No,
like,
for sure. I agree with that 100%.
Yeah.
100%.
That's why I really liked that connection that they had with the father because they do kind of like
I like
and also the brothers, right? Like the final fight, like the way it ends and with the brothers. One of my favorite scenes actually is after he breaks his arm and they go to their like the round ends and they go to their corners and he knows his brother's over there. He's like, I know it just broke his arm, and he's like, he's telling his trainers like, we need to get the judge over here, let him know that he's hurt or whatever. And he's like, no, fuck that, like you need to finish what you started and all this. And it's like there's this little, he looks over and he sees Nick Nolte and like he just like Nick Nolte just kind of nods at him. He just like kind of nods back like they know. And it's like basically he's like giving him permission, like, yeah, your brother's like a wounded fucking animal. Go put him out of his misery, that kind of little nod gave that.
I think that really also made the title really fitting to me too. Is that Tom Hardy he can't surrender. He has to die in battle.
For sure.
Yeah.
No, I mean, he was just like an animal at that point, just using it to work through his shit. No, I really enjoyed seeing the family dynamic. I enjoyed seeing Nick Nolte try and get shot down and still try, and like they weren't completely fucking brutal to him. Like they all like had a
there's a tender moment with Tom Hardy when
relationships.
Tom Hardy pushes him a bit far, and he actually does fall off the wagon. And man, that scene in the hotel when he's like completely trashed, and he's listening to his book on tape with Moby Dick.
Yeah.
And he's like screaming, and he's like, "You turn this fucking ship around!"
No, it's. I think it's a solid movie for sure, as far as the performances from the characters and the portrayal of the environment and the portrayal of the relationships.
Yeah.
I always like. I like it less than Diggstown. I always tune out and I'm out. Not for any purposeful reason, but I tune out and I'm out to UFC stuff. Like, it just makes me a little less interested when it's UFC. Not because of, like, I don't like mixed martial arts, but, like, the presentation. Like,
I think the martial arts should say separate and pure. I don't believe in the mixing of the martial arts.
That's fair.
I suppose.
I know. I can understand.
That's not what I'm saying. I just
sports to me.
It's
so like
I don't. There's a reason why I don't like professional wrestling. I don't watch professional wrestling. There's a reason why I don't like. If I were to happen upon people just playing football, like that's cool. I like football. I like sports.
Yeah.
I don't like the razzmatazz and fucking obnoxious vomit pizzazz of sports.
Yeah.
That's what's always kept me out of like following sports, because I don't. The presentation. So I don't watch advertising. I don't watch commercials on TV. I don't watch reality TV. Like that kind of production.
You watched Barbie though.
Not by choice. Out of duty.
That was your fault.
Yeah, it was.
Sorry about that.
But no, and again, nothing against sports, but I don't like commercialized shit, and like I love the story in this movie. I love the characters in the family. I love what they're going through, what's happening. I am annoyed at the fact that it's UFC the announcers kind of sucked. They should have cast those guys better. That's my critique of the movie.
You know what's fucked up?
Those guys are awful.
You know what's fucked up?
Are the announcers awful? Is that true portrayal?
You think the announcers sucked?
Yeah.
The announcers are real.
They suck.
They're real announcers.
The announcers are real announcers. They actually announce real UFC fights.
Well, the only reason I would defend them in that case is because they're reading off a script in this, and in real life they're probably better at like the real life ad-libbing and shit.
I could agree with that.
Yeah.
I could assume that for sure, but still, in this movie, it's whatever. But that's the shit that I don't like. Like, if you could get that cut out, like if you could change the setting and eliminate the UFC, and it's just like, I don't know, a local tournament.
Which by the way, this is not UFC affiliated.
No, it's not.
They do crank it up to like literally global scale. They didn't need to go that hard.
Right.
Like the prize could have been.
And like I told you the guys the night of, there's so basically the whole thing is a tournament. Like it's supposed to be like the top middleweights in the world.
Yeah,
it's one night tournament, and it
would have that production. I mean, that's the thing. There's events.
One of the villains.
It's the advertising.
I make quote marks with my fingers as
Russian
I say
guy,
the Russian guy. And so when this movie came out, there actually was
always will be.
Yeah.
There actually was an MMA fighter in Russia who I want to. His record was ridiculous. It was like 40-something and 0. Like he was undefeated, and like he never actually fought on American soil. And I'm pretty sure that they meant for this guy to be like a portrayal of that type of a character.
There's definitely nods like
to
the culture. I can I think it's definitely a respectable film, and I respect that whole thing. Sure.
I feel kind of similar though in that.
But I always for me personally, there's always a barrier there. Like the Roadhouse preview,
the Roadhouse preview looks like shit. So
I don't go that far. I'm just turned off a little bit.
There were 2 explosions in your trailer.
It always turns me off, man. I'm just like
there were 2 explosions in the trailer. What movie have you ever seen that has 2 explosions? That's good. Come on, let's go.
That's good. I don't know.
Doesn't Oppenheimer have like 6?
It might be
You say
true.
the 9/11 documentary, I'm gonna punch you in the face.
I mean, there's only like
those
3
aren't
explosions
explosions; those are crashes.
Yeah. I wouldn't
think-
actually punch you in the face. I'm a nice person.
I think I really liked like the writing and the characters and the relationships and the emotions and everything.
Yeah.
I do think it was really bogged down by details.
Yeah.
Like you could really get away with a lot of like big competition, lots of money. That's all you need.
Yeah.
You don't
Yeah.
like it's almost like a subplot. They cut to the founder or whatever the benefactor of this championship like 6 times and get like interviewing him. It's like we don't care. It's a fictional sports championship.
Yeah.
I mean, I suppose they're being true to form, though.
Yeah,
'Cause that's what it would
try-
be.
They're trying.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're trying
On
to make it
TV,
seem
that's
legitimate.
what it would be.
They're trying to
It
like
would be that.
rebuild their version of the UFC for this movie, basically, because
I just think they really could have cut down
Yeah.
on it and
it
really
is a
honed in
long
on
movie
just
for a
the
sports
emotion.
movie. It's 2 hours and 20 some minutes, so it is definitely on the longer side for a sports movie. So I could see that. But honestly, the fucked up thing is like you're an hour and 40 minutes into the movie before the sports even comes in. I mean, for the most part, it's a lot of just like family drama for an hour and 40 minutes.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's a good movie for sure.
Yeah.
For sure.
All right. Well, fuck these movies. The Diggstown is fun.
Yeah, for me, Diggstown was super satisfying.
And I knew Diggstown would be the more fun watch. I just didn't know if anybody would like it outside of me because I don't know anybody
Right.
outside of my own family who's ever seen the movie before. So I was just like, fuck, they're gonna make fun of me for choosing this movie. But I put it out there.
Hey,
I put it out
you
there.
can't get worse than Love Actually.
Yeah, I mean that was pretty fucking cheesy.
You know-
dude.
you
Yeah.
know-
Like glitter.
Nerd.
you want to know something, Reese? You want to know something?
Oh my god, dude! So,
I fear that you're wrong.
You have
I feel
a
that
worse pick coming up.
it is way possible. We're gonna do Rhinestone at some point.
Rhinestone sounds fun.
There was speaking of glitter in Love Actually, one of the scenes in Suicide Squad reminded me so much of that because there's a point where the broad that runs the organization is
Amanda
on a
Waller.
helicopter and is fleeing, and it like dives and shoots out like 20 flares
Yeah.
for literally no fucking reason, no reason at all. And then she, I'm just like,
Is it green?
all I could think was the
Green
green glitter.
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 Yeah. They really tried to make that movie look flashy and fun,
Yeah.
and it was never fun or flashy.
No, for me, Warrior is I would have liked it as a film a lot more if it were in a different setting, but I really appreciate what the film was, for sure.
Yeah. I think if Warrior had focused in more on the emotions and less on the sports, which I get, it's a
Well,
sports
they
movie.
focused
right?
the fuck out of the emotions. I think.
Yeah.
I just wanted to not be set in the UFC setting. I
Yeah.
actually would like. I think it, like that in just a boxing setting would have felt a lot more. I don't know. I guess that's just from
So the
time
thing
and
is,
upbringing and context. But
what other mixed martial arts movie is there? And
I don't know.
I guess I
I
appreciate.
wouldn't watch them
Southpaw?
if I saw
I
them.
appreciate the fact that it's a mixed martial arts film because there are a million fucking boxing movies,
No,
and there
yeah,
are like
that's fair.
no mixed martial arts.
That's fair
movies.
for sure.
They
It's
tried to
about-
do something
Is
different.
is
Yeah.
Southpaw mixed martial arts?
Southpaw is a boxing movie.
No, and so I could totally like do some movies about mixed martial arts.
Yeah.
I think that's fair
Yeah,
because it
yeah,
is like it's the new
I'm
sport. So that's
sure
cool.
I'm sure there's
Yeah, I
one
get
that I'm sure some meathead is going to tell me I'm wrong, but I don't know of another mixed
I
martial
think
arts.
I
movie.
think
probably
there's
a few,
a lot
sure,
a
but-
lot of mixed martial arts movies that aren't like prestigious. So
Yeah.
you know
Yeah.
they might not. I'm
Yeah.
sure. I think Channing Tatum
Yeah.
Channing Tatum was in a mixed martial arts movie, but I really don't.
I'm sure it's
know.
terrible.
I like Channing.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't like his like action or sports movies, so I probably wouldn't like that either. But no, I think he's actually a pretty great actor.
He's-
All right.
I think was he in a did he play himself as a gimp in like that fucking End of the World movie? Was that him?
I'm pretty sure he
With
was.
Seth Rogen and all those guys?
Yeah.
Which
Yes,
Yeah,
yes, he's
yeah.
in it for like 2 seconds.
yeah, as like fucking Danny
Yeah.
McBride's gimp. Like
Yeah,
That
and
made me laugh.
Danny McBride says more like Channing Taint Yum.
yeah. Like so Dude, that dude got points right there for me. Just like
Yeah.
being willing to like do that. Like,
Yeah.
man, this guy like he's pretty funny. He doesn't give a fuck.
Oh yeah, you can tell he's a fun
like
guy.
all right,
Yeah.
like that's cool. He doesn't have like I think his ego is not what you think it was.
Yeah,
He's willing
yeah.
to like
He's
do that.
he's a very fun guy.
So, anyhow.
Yeah, and I really liked Diggstown. I think it was a very fun watch.
Yeah, yeah. I
I
mean,
enjoyed-
a movie
I enjoyed both
in that
movies.
era always has its flaws, and whatever.
Yeah.
Like they deliver on the other ends.
Could have been a lot worse.
Oh, the one thing we forgot to mention with Diggstown is Guillaume's son, the daddy boy.
Yeah.
If this character says the word daddy
Daddy.
more times than maybe in the history of film. In the history of film, has there ever been the word daddy said more times than daddy? I can't do that, daddy. I can't do that, daddy.
Film.
Say in the history of
social-
mainstream,
Yeah.
G rated.
The
in
count
my
is
mind-
high. Let me say this.
So there's always been like film social context of like that being a Southern thing to me. Like I don't know Southern people, so I don't know if they actually say daddy that many times.
Yeah.
but I can count of all kinds of movies and social context that tells me that Southern people say daddy a bunch. So
Yeah.
I guess it tracks, but there's a lot of them. But
He's
the-
a
the
Southern
kid was-
gentleman.
The kid was
Oh,
the kid was
daddy.
fucking in the process of brainwashing by his dad, basically.
Yeah. So he can
So
just
he can continue
proxy
his
live
evil
forever.
empire.
Yeah.
But yeah, lots of daddying.
Well, I had fun with the fight night.
Yeah, it was fun. for sure.
I'm ready to put a bow on it. I'm gonna now turn it over to Reese. He's gonna tell us what we should watch in theaters this week, and also what we're gonna be watching next week,
Yeah.
and what we're gonna be talking
Curious.
about 2 weeks from now,
Curious.
in episode number 21.
Yeah. Coming to theaters today. It's past midnight, so in theaters today, Thursday. We have Argyle.
Like spy movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm tired of seeing the trailer for it. It doesn't. It looked fun.
Once.
Like funnish.
Yeah.
I was like, I mean, if it gets decent reviews, I'll probably see
It's
it.
probably. I mean, it's a spy movie. It'll be an amount of fun, but
It's
it is
getting-
exactly what
It's
it
getting
is.
pretty bad reviews.
You know what's
so I don't know.
what's fucked up is they said it's from the makers of the Kingsman, and then it has the actors from The Man from U.N.C.L.E. And like
Yeah.
right away, I'm getting like mixed vibes here of what we're
Right.
trying to do. Like
Yeah.
I feel like I've already seen this movie because I've seen The Man from U.N.C.L.E. You're bringing back some of the same actor.
Did you guys watch the Brad Pitt movie from 2022, Bullet Train?
Yeah,
Yeah,
I did
yeah.
watch that.
It
This
looks
is
kinda-
probably
That was a fun movie.
Yeah,
that
it
was
looks
a fun
like
movie.
trying to be that kind of fun.
Yeah.
And it does. I don't.
It
know
was
if
the
it is.
Diggstown of spy movies.
which at the end, I would say that for sure. That's actually pretty good. Now that I've seen Diggstown, a good analogy.
Brad Pitt is so great in that movie.
No, so and at the end of the day, that is a fucking spy movie too, right?
Yeah.
So a spy movie can be a really good movie because I think Bullet Train's a fucking fantastic.
Yeah.
movie.
Yeah, I will say I feel like spy movies are better when they're comedies.
Yes.
Yes.
I think horrors are better when they're comedies a lot of the time. So
I'd rather watch If Looks Could Kill than any Bond movie. I'm
yeah,
just gonna throw that out there.
for sure.
So yeah, it's the kind of I'm looking for just about any excuse to see any movie in theaters.
It's probably entertaining enough. So,
if I heard like
fuck it.
one person say like, no, it's worth your time, I'd
Yeah.
probably try.
Yeah,
it.
for sure.
Some animated thing called The Jungle Bunch.
The Jungle Bunch.
Is this what we should be going to see?
No. I'm just saying that's the only other new movie.
That's an
coming out.
It's
option.
there.
Still in theaters. Oof. Ooh.
See Poor Things.
Yeah, see Poor Things. That's the best option right now. It's still in theaters. Probably will be for a while because it just got a ton of Oscar nominations. The other options are Mean Girls, and then it gets worse. The Boys
Okay.
in the Boat, The Beekeeper, Anyone But You, Migration, Wonka, and Aquaman 2.
Yeah, that's pretty rough.
That Beekeeper movie is like one of the worst things I've ever like. I haven't seen it, but like
The trailer. You can tell it's bad.
trailer,
You watch a
yeah.
trailer and
It's
this
just
movie looks
it's
so
another
bad.
fucking one of those. Man.
It's just it's exactly like
It's another Mission
30 other
Impossible.
Jason Statham movies.
like it's
I don't like Jason Statham. I think that's where I've
he's
landed.
just another guy that does the
No,
thing.
like,
he
I'm
does.
who likes Jason Statham?
I mean, a lot of people do. That's the problem.
The same people
Here's-
are like
here's the- I
Jean-Claude
don't
Van
dislike
Damme and
Jason
other guys
Statham.
like that. Like
Yeah.
they're just there.
Like it's not like if Jason Statham's in the movie, I'm out. It's just that like it's not a selling point to me that he's in your movie.
No.
There's going to be karate.
February is looking like a pretty sparse
Yeah.
sparse month for movies.
Something
So
of the sort.
it's gonna be rough.
It's Irish kung fu.
We'll probably get a lot of Oscar
He's
movies
fucking martial
re-released in
arts. He's
theaters,
just
so
another.
that's
He's
nice.
just the action guy that does fucking martial arts. Like
There's a bajillion of them.
What else you got, Reese? Sorry, we're
Nothing.
over here talking shit
No,
about
he
Jason
listed it.
Statham.
I was just gonna say end of March or end of February though, March 1st, Dune Part 2
that's exciting.
is coming out,
That's
and
exciting.
tickets are available.
I'm excited as fuck. When does
I feel
when
like-
does Romulus come out? When does the Alien movie come
I don't
out?
think that actually has a release date yet. It's
Yeah.
just 2024.
John's impatient over
I'm
here.
very
Not as
excited.
Romulus.
I'm very excited for the alien stuff. I
Here we
can't
go.
wait.
The current release
Can't wait.
schedule
So I think
for
the aesthetics are going to be
Alien
like,
Romulus
school.
is August 16th.
August.
Oh, I'm going to be looking forward
We
to
will
it.
End of
see
summer.
if that actually happens.
Nice.
But yeah, so that's what's playing in theaters. Go see Poor Things.
Go see movies and support your local theater.
Yeah.
Support your local economy.
And then my picks, I am doing a double feature because I don't want to be left out.
Yeah, you gotta do it.
I don't blame you for that. I
I
would
knew
do
what
the
this
same.
was. I
Um,
knew what it
actually
was
did.
when I picked my double feature. I knew it was going to happen.
Yeah.
I think mine are longer though.
Oh, shit.
One's 2 hours. I think one's 2 hours and 10 minutes. So.
Oh,
All right, that's no
Yeah,
problem.
that's
It'll be a
not-
longer
that's not
Wednesday
the
next
As long as
Wednesday.
you're not like 2.5
Oh,
hours.
oh,
that's when it gets.
By the way,
Yeah, I
we do Wednesday cycles here. So one Wednesday we watch the movies. The next Wednesday we do the podcast.
yeah.
There's a Wednesday coming up which is literally Valentine's Day. We're either gonna have to skip a week
Yeah.
or we're gonna have to find a
Yeah.
different day
We're
probably
upset
because
with
I
our
assume that
schedule.
we all have something else to do that night.
Yeah.
Yeah, probably.
So just throwing that out there. But anyway, go ahead.
I
with
mean,
your picks.
honestly, both of my conflicts would be like, no, Wednesday's your podcast day. It's fine. But no, it's,
Oh, okay. Fuck it.
but no. If it,
My wife's already brought it to my attention. I wasn't even thinking about it. So
yeah, no, we should probably do something.
We will see. There may
we,
be
yeah,
we
we'll
can
see.
do we can do like a Thursday,
the schedule.
like
Yeah, yeah.
We can just switch it to Thursday.
Yeah.
My schedule's a little different for the time being with my wife, so like I can make anything work. So
Yeah. That's what, 2? Is that next episode?
well, no.
Or it'll be a movie night.
So Valentine's Day is always on the 14th.
Yeah.
So, but
That
I'm pretty
would
sure I
be-
saw
that would
that-
be a movie night because next week we'll be watching your movies, and then that would be the podcast episode. So the next podcast episode may be the 15th.
Yeah.
Okay, so that would be the episode. We might have to do the episode a different night.
Yeah.
13th, 15th, 21st.
We have to put it off. We have to
Whatever.
put it off. We'll figure it out.
We'll figure it out.
Not
There will
important.
be an
Not
episode
important.
to
What
the
is
schedule.
important?
We'll probably have it next Wednesday at
Yeah.
least. We'll have it figured out.
We will.
Yeah, we will indeed.
Yeah.
Alright,
So I'm
here's the picks.
going with horny nun movies.
Okay.
Nunsploitation.
Nunsploitation.
Uh,
Didn't see this coming.
I am
go.
continuing my my religious themes.
Oh,
Uh,
great.
I'm picking The Devils from 1971.
Okay, I haven't heard of that
Um,
one.
This is actually a pretty hard to find movie, but it is currently streaming on the Criterion channel.
Okay.
It's very controversial, as you can imagine. 70s movies about the Catholic Church.
Yeah.
And then the second one is Benedetta from 2021.
Benedetta?
Yes.
Okay.
Benedetta.
Okay.
It's directed by Paul Verhoeven, who, if you're not familiar with, directed Starship Troopers and
Ooh.
like a couple other like real big 80s like sci-fi movies.
Right.
But he also directs like he's because he's not American, he's not English. His like non-English speaking language movies are very like dark and weird and
Okay.
like very off.
That's intriguing. That's cool. I'm
Yeah.
excited for that.
So I'm very excited. I've been wanting to watch this one since it came out just a couple years ago, and then I've been waiting for a chance to watch The Devils, and it lined up perfectly.
So you've never seen either of these movies?
Never seen either one.
Okay.
Blind, and
Fantastic.
I really
So none of us have seen any of these.
nope.
Oh, this is
great.
I like it.
And I don't
You're
really
not reading it
know. I
first.
don't really know much about either one.
I actually
besides-
had like been trying to plan such a scenario where
Snuck it in.
Yeah.
Fantastic. That's great.
Good job.
Uh,
It's 2 movies too. Good
and
job.
Benedetta is available on Hulu. So
Okay.
Yeah,
and
I have to
available to
say,
buy.
Starship Troopers is like one of my.
Oh, I
top
knew
five
you,
fucking
like I
films,
knew
man.
that John's dick was
So-
over there getting hard as soon as you said Starship. He's just like, ooh, Starship Troopers.
Oh, no, did he do
Oh,
Total
what
I've
a
Recall?
never,
scene.
I've never seen anything else from the director, so like that's one of my favorite movies.
Yeah,
so,
well, this will be a kind of a
yeah, that's
total shock
yeah, for
because it's
sure.
going to be nothing
Cool.
like Starship.
Should be super interesting. I love seeing that.
But what he did, is it the same guy that did Total Recall?
Who knows?
Paul Verhoeven. He directed, RoboCop, Total Recall, and Starship Troopers.
Old school RoboCop and Total Recall.
The first Total Recall.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
That dude's got a style.
Let's
Yeah.
do this.
That dude's got a
This is
style.
my favorite fucking movies.
But for
These
a little more
movies are the reason
context,
why I am who I am.
in 2016 he directed this German,
Uh-oh. What do you do?
Belgian.
Belgian.
He directed a Belgian movie called Elle, and it's about a woman who a man breaks into her house and rapes her, and
Right.
then she like kind of falls in love with the experience. So that's kind of the movies he's been making recently.
Okay.
Okay.
Alright.
Yeah. That
So,
tracks.
Yeah, I'm excited for some weird shit.
Yeah. Sweet. That sounds good.
All right. Well, we're gonna put a bow on episode 20.
Yeah.
and
Thanks for listening. If you have, or future listeners, thanks you for listening.
Yeah.
We do this every.
If you haven't been
every few
listening,
weeks.
fuck you
Right.
What the
and
hell?
your
man?
whole family. Honestly.
Jeez. I don't know about that. What about Billy? Little Billy, man. You say fuck little Billy. Said somebody fucks his whole family.
Well, they aren't gonna get offended because, like as
They're
we
not
already
listening.
stated, they weren't listening. All right. Well,
Somebody might.
we're done. So peace out, motherfucker.